Chapter 851. Tens of millions of li of the main pavilion was shrouded in a sea of faint silver mist. This faint silver mist could obstruct the senses of spirit sense and reduce the speed of traveling light. To the merchant pavilion, it was a natural barrier. Most of the cultivators who came and went could only fly slowly in the mist. Even life-immortal realm experts could not spread their spirit sense across a large area in the mist. At the center of the mist was a huge whirlpool. Floating cities floated above the whirlpool. That was where the main pavilion was located. Below the whirlpool was the forbidden area in the depths of the mist. The mist on the ground was called the first layer of the mist by the cultivators of the pavilion. The density of the mist here was enough to obstruct the senses of life-immortal realm experts. Below the whirlpool, there was the second layer, the third layer, the fourth layer. As for how many layers there were, few people in the outside world knew about it. It was considered a secret of the godly void pavilion. In the second layer of the mist, there was a floating island named Eastern Ming Island. There were 8 treasure vaults built on the island. Ning Fan walked in the mist at a moderate pace. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on the veins of the Tao law of rain and mist. As he arrived, the mist parted in 2 directions as if it was welcoming his arrival. Some cultivators along the way were shocked when they saw such a strange scene. However, when they saw Ning Fan walking in the mist, they felt relieved. The rain immortal monarch Ning Fan had a mysterious ability that could make the rain and mist submit to him. Everyone in the Eastern Ming Star region knew about this. Every cultivator of the godly void pavilion looked at Ning Fan with more or less respect. Some unmarried female cultivators looked at Ning Fan with admiration and shyness in their eyes. Ning Fan did not care about all of these. He flew all the way to the center of the mist and landed in the cultivation city where the main pavilion was located. The mist in this place was extremely thick. The air was moist, but it gave off a feeling of stagnation. After landing in the cultivation city, Ning Fan did not stay for long. He took out the token that he had given to Bo Zi and sent an incantation seal towards the direction of the main pavilion to inform him of his arrival. Then he immediately leaped into the whirlpool of the mist below. He had 2 purposes for coming here. One was to go to the treasure vault of Eastern Ming Island in the second layer of the mist to obtain the cultivation resources there. The second was to enter the 4th layer of the mist sea and place the immortal bestowal tablet in the tablet nurturing pond there for 1,000 years. To enter the treasury, one needed the merchant pavilion's pavilion master token. To enter the monument nurturing pool, one also needed the merchant pavilion's pavilion master token. Ning Fan did not have the pavilion lord token, but he had the token that he had given to Bo Zi. The effect of this token was almost the same as the pavilion lord token. He could enter these forbidden areas at will. He was also free to use the cultivation resources in the merchant pavilion. Informing the merchant pavilion was just out of politeness. However, just as Ning Fan sent out the incantation gesture, 4 rays of light immediately flew out of the main pavilion and stopped him. "Immortal sir, please wait. The 4 elders have something to tell you." As soon as Ning Fan heard that, he immediately stopped falling and stopped in the vast misty sky. 4 rays of light approached from far away and transformed into 4 old men. All of them were peak Duzhen cultivators. The 4 elders of Ci Ming greet the rain immortal monarch. The 4 old monsters revealed a faint smile and cupped their fists at Ning Fan. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. Then he cupped his fists to return the greeting and asked with a surprised tone, "Elders, may I know why you stopped me?" Ning Fan had stayed in the merchant pavilion for 3 months. He had heard of the 4 elders of Ci Ming. Currently, all of the experts in the commercial pavilion who were at the level of Shikong and above were busy repairing the heaven-suppressing bell. They had no time to take care of the mundane affairs. Thus, the 4 of them became the people in charge of the general pavilion. Ning Fan naturally would not neglect them. I am Sun Ci. These 3 are fellow Taoist Zhao Mingzi, fellow Taoist Wu Wangsun, and fellow Taoist Chu Dongting. The 4 of us are the people in charge of the merchant pavilion. The reason why we stopped you is because we have a request. Among the 4 of them, an old Taoist with gray hair explained to Ning Fan with a faint smile. "Oh, Elder Sun, What request do you have? Ning Fan's eyes flashed and asked. Given his personality, he would naturally not agree to other people's requests easily. However, there was no harm in listening. Immortal monarch, you must be here to enter the treasury of Eastern Ming Island, right? Sun Si asked with a smile. That's right. To tell you the truth, something has happened to the treasury of Eastern Ming Island recently. Sun Si smiled bitterly, took out a jade slip and passed it to Ning Fan. The jade slip contained part of his spirit sense. It recorded the incident of Eastern Ming Island sinking into the 4th level of the Sea of Mist. Ning Fan received the jade slip and sent his spirit sense into it. After a long time, he withdrew his spirit sense and frowned slightly. He really came at a bad time. The Eastern Ming Island that had always been floating in the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist had actually sunk into the 4th level last night. Is Elder Sun's request related to this matter? Ning Fan asked. Exactly. I heard that Immortal Monarch's abilities are astonishing. Your abilities can restrain rain and mist in many ways. Therefore, I would like to ask Immortal Monarch to enter the 4th level and move Eastern Ming Island back to the 2nd level. The power of mist in the 4th level is too strong. Even peak true crossing realm cultivators like me can't enter it. Even if we are void-shedding realm cultivators, our cultivation base will be suppressed by 90% if we enter recklessly, making it very difficult for us to move Eastern Ming Island back to the 2nd level. If it wasn't because I sensed Immortal Monarch's arrival, I would have already sent someone to the Heavenly Prison to ask for Senior Swan Yen's help. I hope Immortal Monarch can lend me a hand and help the Merchant Pavilion move back to Eastern Ming Island. Take this as a token of my gratitude. I hope Immortal Monarch won't leak the information contained in this item. Sun Si smiled bitterly, took out another jade slip and passed it to Ning Fan. Elder Sun seems to have a lot of confidence in me. He actually entrusted me with something that only old monster Swan Yen could do. Ning Fan could not help but laugh, thinking that Sun Si really thought highly of him. When he received the 2nd jade slip and scanned it with his spirit sense, his eyes immediately moved. The 2nd jade slip was Sun Si's gift of gratitude. It actually recorded one of the greatest secrets of the Godly Void Pavilion, the secrets about the Misty Sea. Very few cultivators from the outside world knew about these secrets. Usually, only a few old monsters of the Godly Void Pavilion knew about them. Ning Fan kept the jade slip. When he looked at Sun Si again, his eyes were 30% playful and 70% solemn. Elder Sun, you have given me such a generous gift. I don't know how to repay you. Ning Fan looked at Sun Si with a faint smile. Even if I don't give you this information, I'm afraid there are many people who would be willing to give it to Immortal Monarch in order to befriend you. Sun Si laughed heartily. Since I have already accepted Elder Sun's gift, I will do my best to move the Eastern Ming Island back to the 2nd level. Farewell. Ning Fan gave Sun Si a deep look. His figure flashed and flew towards the whirlpool of the Misty Sea. The 2nd jade slip that Sun Si gave him recorded the secret information about the Misty Sea. There were only 200 to 300 people in the Godly Void Pavilion who were qualified to know this information. The Misty Sea was an ancient secret place. It had a total of 9 levels. It was a cave residence left behind by the Eastern Sky Ancestral Emperor, the Eastern Demonic Ancestor. The 1st level of the Misty Sea was on the ground. The remaining 8 levels were in the Earth Abyss world under the whirlpool. The 2nd to 4th levels could only be used for defense. It could not be used for cultivation. It was the floating place of the Eastern Ming Island. The spiritual qi in the 5th to 8th levels was extremely dense. It was only slightly weaker than the Heavenly Prison. It was the cultivation place of many old monsters in the Godly Void Pavilion. The 9th level was where the cave residence of the Eastern Demonic Ancestor was located. There were no items in it except for some strange inscriptions. The words on the inscriptions were ancient and difficult to read. No one could understand them. No one knew what the Eastern Demonic Ancestor had written in his cave residence. These were the information that Sun Si gave to Ning Fan. Ning Fan was quite interested in the cave residence of the Eastern Demonic Ancestor. If he had the strength to enter the 9th level of the Misty Sea, he would definitely enter the cave residence to have a look no matter what. Elder Sun, why did you give the information about the cave residence of the Eastern demonic ancestor to Rain Immortal Monarch? Could it be that you think he has the ability to enter the 9th level of the Sea of Mist? The elder who was called Wu Wang Sun asked in confusion after Ning Fan left. Fellow Taoist Wu must be joking. How can this old man hope that the Rain Immortal Monarch can enter the 9th level? Throughout history, only the Divine Void Emperor and the Divine Void Emperor could enter the 9th level. Not even the Immortal Kings could enter the 9th level. The pressure is too strong. Only the 10,000 ancient immortal venerables could enter the 8th level. Only the Broken Thoughts Old Monster could enter the 7th level. Given the Rain Immortal Monarch's ability to restrain the rain, he would most likely reach the 6th level. To him, the 6th floor is the best place to cultivate. This old man gave him this jade slip because I hope to be a step ahead and tell him this secret. This can be considered as sowing good karma. Sun Si smiled and returned to the general pavilion with the other 3 elders. The 4 of them did not think that Ning Fan could enter the 6th floor and below. However, all of them were certain that Ning Fan had the ability to teleport back to Eastern Ming Island. They did not think that they had underestimated Ning Fan, but unfortunately, it seemed like they had underestimated him. Once Ning Fan entered the whirlpool of the Sea of Mist, he would be considered to have entered the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist. The mist in the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist was naturally denser than that on the ground. At this level, even a cultivator of the Dujin realm would not be able to exert his full strength. Both his cultivation base and spirit sense would be greatly suppressed. On the 2nd level, there were even a few mist beasts. These mist beasts had low intelligence and their cultivation base was also low. At most, they were at the divine transformation realm. Ning Fan had cultivated the yin-yang realm of rain. His body had nurtured a trace of palm realm power, which greatly restrained the rain and mist. When he entered the 2nd level, he naturally did not feel any suppression. On the contrary, his arrival made some of the mist beasts hiding in the thick mist shiver in fear. In the eyes of those mist beasts with low intelligence, Ning Fan was not a cultivator at all. He was clearly a drop of rain, a drop of Tao law that could control all rain and mist in this world. With their low cultivation base, Ning Fan could eliminate their existence with just a single thought. They were extremely afraid of Ning Fan. Is this the place where Eastern Ming Island was previously floating? Ning Fan stopped at a certain place on the 2nd level and spread his spirit sense far away. In the thick mist here, there were obviously traces of a formation that was set up by someone. It should be the original location of Eastern Ming Island. As long as I enter the 4th level and move Eastern Ming Island back to this place, I will be able to fulfill Sun Si's request. Ning Fan's eyes flashed and he immediately flew downwards. In front of him, 2 petite mist beasts suddenly appeared and bumped into his body inadvertently. These 2 mist beasts were only the size of a fist. Their cultivation base was only at the harmonious spirit realm. They were originally chasing each other and having fun. However, due to a moment of carelessness, they bumped into Ning Fan, a peerless ominous star. One of the mist beasts had sharp fingernails. It actually left a bloody mark on Ning Fan's face. When the 2 mist beasts with low intelligence realized that they had made a huge mistake, their hair stood on end and their bodies trembled. Their eyes were filled with fear and uneasiness. Even though their intelligence was low, they understood how dangerous it was for them to scratch Ning Fan's face. It was highly possible that they would be killed by Ning Fan, who was the nemesis of the Yu Wu clan, with just a single thought. Mist beasts, huh? Ning Fan's eyes briefly swept across the 2 mist beasts. He touched the bloody mark on his face with his palm. Black starlight flashed and the wound immediately disappeared. When he looked at the 2 little beasts again, his eyes were filled with curiosity, contemplation, and surprise. However, there was no killing intent. He wasn't a bloodthirsty person. He wouldn't act recklessly just because of the unintentional mistake of these little beasts. The only thing that surprised him was that the sharp claws of these mist beasts were actually able to break through the defense of his heavenly devil physical body and leave a bloody mark on his face. The reason why he was injured was not because of how sharp the claws of these two little beasts were. Instead, it was because their claws had unintentionally triggered a trace of the great force of heaven and earth, breaking through the defense of his heavenly devil physical body. Don't be afraid. You two can leave now. Ning Fan casually waved his hand. Immediately, a gust of wind emerged from his sleeve and sent the two beasts a great distance away. Rain intent flashed in his eyes. His spirit sense immediately merged with all the thick mist in the second level of the Sea of Mist. When he closed his eyes, Ning Fan could clearly see all the hidden mist beasts in this place with his spirit sense. The cultivation base of these mist beasts might be low, but they could more or less trigger a trace of the power of the great force. Even though the amount of power they could trigger was not much, it was enough for them to protect themselves when facing powerful cultivators. Trigger the power of the great force. Is this the innate ability that the mist beasts in this place are born with? Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn and he remained silent. After a long time, he finally rolled up his traveling light again and flew towards the lower level. In the third level of the Sea of Mist, 90% of a cultivator's cultivation base would be suppressed once they enter this place. However, this level could not stop Ning Fan's speed at all. In the fourth level of the Sea of Mist, even if a cultivator were to enter this level, his cultivation base would still be suppressed by 90%. However, when he arrived at this level, Ning Fan's cultivation base did not show any signs of being suppressed at all. He was a cultivator of the yin-yang rain technique. His body contained a trace of the power of the rain palm. He was the only one who could suppress the rain mist. How could he be suppressed by the rain mist? In the fourth level of the Sea of Mist, the eastern ocean island had already sunk all the way to the bottom. There was a barrier of formation light at the bottom of the fourth level. It separated any cultivators who tried to enter the fifth level. This barrier of formation light was extremely powerful. Only cultivators who had mastered the finger seals of passage could pass through it and enter the fifth level. Sun Si had told Ning Fan about the finger seals of passage through the jade slip. Without the finger seals of passage, even if Ning Fan was a thought fragmentation cultivator, he would not be able to pass through this barrier easily. After being blocked by this barrier of formation light, the island naturally sank to the bottom and could not continue to descend to the fifth level. Looking at the gigantic island in front of him and the 8 treasure vaults on it, Ning Fan remained silent for a while. Then he formed a hand seal and directly used the teleportation technique. Immediately, the gigantic island flashed and disappeared. It disappeared from the fourth level and directly appeared on the second level. Ning Fan had actually sent this island back to the second level with a single teleportation technique. He was not in a hurry to enter the treasure vaults of the island to obtain the treasures. At this moment, he was more interested in the demon ancestors' immortal cave in the 9th level of the Sea of Mist. At the moment when the island returned to its original position, Sun Si and the others who were far away in the main pavilion of the merchant pavilion smiled knowingly and sighed in admiration. As expected, Ning Fan did not disappoint them and moved the island back to its original position. After moving the island back to its original position, Ning Fan's figure flashed and flew towards the other direction of the fourth level. In that direction, there was an immortal pond that was sealed by a concealment formation. It was the tablet nurturing pond. Using the token to open the formation light, Ning Fan reluctantly placed the immortal bestowal tablet into the pond to nourish it. After sealing the formation light again, he turned around and left. Once its energy is exhausted, it would need 1,000 years to nourish it. Within 1,000 years, Ning Fan would not be able to use the immortal bestowal tablet again. I'll temporarily return this item to the Godly Void Pavilion to nourish it. After leaving the tablet nurturing pond, Ning Fan immediately used the finger seals of passage to enter the 5th level of the Sea of Mist. As soon as he entered the 5th level, the 26 old monsters who were cultivating there opened their eyes one after another and looked towards Ning Fan's direction as if they had sensed something. Among these old monsters who were cultivating there, the weakest cultivation base was at the early shedding void realm while the strongest one was even at the late shedding void realm. Those who cultivated here were all old monsters of the Godly Void Pavilion who stayed in seclusion all year round. They never cared about the rumors in the outside world and only focused on cultivating. The task that the godly void pavilion gave them was only to cultivate. In time, they would become the peak strength of the next generation of the godly void pavilion. What? Peak ghost profound realm. How could this be? How could a cultivator at the peak of the ghost mystic realm have the ability to enter the fifth layer of the sea of fog? Could it be that this person had concealed his cultivation? Humph, you're just deliberately mystifying us. I can see clearly. The fog here is too thick. Even I, old monster Shikong, can only spread my spirit sense 1,000 feet away. My eyesight can only penetrate a few feet. I can't see this person's appearance clearly, but his chi is a little unfamiliar. Is he the old monster Shikong who has just joined the godly void pavilion? In the fifth level of the Sea of Fog, there are only 26 spots with the best spiritual chi. Once he arrives, he will definitely compete with one of us for the seclusion cave abode. When they thought about this, the expressions of the 26 Shikong old monsters who were cultivating in seclusion changed. Looking at Ning Fan's expression, there was a hint of hostility. What surprised them was that Ning Fan did not stay on the fifth floor for a long time. He also did not have the intention to fight for the 26 abodes on the fifth floor. As soon as he entered the fifth level, Ning Fan immediately flew towards the sixth level without stopping. What? This person actually wanted to go to the sixth floor. Don't tell me he's actually at the peak of the Renhuang Void Realm. If one enters the sixth level without a peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivation base, he or she will be directly repelled by the power of the fog. All the Shikong old monsters who were cultivating in seclusion on the fifth level were shocked. Under the gazes of the crowd, Ning Fan directly dashed into the sixth layer of the Sea of Mist. He was not repelled at all. This person is indeed a peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivator. Even if a peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivator enters the sixth level cautiously, it definitely won't be as easy as him. Could it be that he's actually a thought-breaking old monster? The 26 old monsters guessed. In the sixth level of the Sea of Fog, the fog was no longer silver. Instead, it was light red like vermilion. In the sixth level of the Sea of Fog, there were a total of 14 innately formed cave abodes with red fog. Only 2 of these cave abodes were empty. The remaining 12 cave abodes were all occupied by peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivators. At the moment when Ning Fan arrived, the 12 peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivators opened their eyes at the same time. Peak Ghost Profound Realm? No, it should be a peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivator who has concealed his cultivation base. Is this fellow Taoist also here to cultivate? Fortunately, there are still 2 empty cave abodes on this level. There won't be any fights over the cave abodes. These old monsters made up their minds and closed their eyes, entering a state of cultivation again. A few breaths later, these old monsters opened their eyes at the same time. They walked out of their cave abodes and looked towards the direction of the 7th level. Under their incredulous gazes, Ning Fan stepped into the 7th level of the Sea of Fog. This person is actually a thought-breaking old monster. There's no doubt about it. Someone who can enter the 7th level must be a thought-breaking old monster. The spiritual chi in the 7th level of the Sea of Fog is 3 times that of the 6th level. The speed of cultivation in that level is extremely fast. The 12 peak Renhuang Void Realm cultivators revealed looks of envy at the same time. They were envious that Ning Fan could enter the 7th level to cultivate. In the 7th level of the Sea of Fog, Ning Fan finally felt that it was difficult to move forward. Even though he had already cultivated the Yin-Yang Rain technique, the seal on it had yet to be lifted. When he reached this level, his cultivation base was almost completely suppressed by the power of the fog. The fog of the 7th level was black in color. Within the black fog, there were a total of 9 cave abodes that were faintly discernible. Out of the 9 cave abodes, 4 of them were empty while the remaining 5 were occupied by thought-breaking cultivators. Among the 5 of them, 4 of them were at the early spirit severing realm and 1 of them was at the mid-spirit severing realm. The moment Ning Fan arrived, the 5 of them opened their eyes at the same time. However, after shaking their heads slightly, they closed their eyes again. As soon as this person entered the 7th level, his cultivation base was completely suppressed and he couldn't move even half a step. Judging from this person is most likely a cultivator who has just stepped into the thought fragmentation realm and his cultivation base hasn't stabilized yet. It's a pity that a thought fragmentation cultivator whose cultivation base hasn't stabilized can't cultivate in this level. After this person has suffered enough, he will most likely return to the 6th floor by himself. However, to their disbelief, Ning Fan did not return to the 6th floor. A few breaths later, the seal on Ning Fan's glabella was lifted. His body suddenly erupted with an unimaginable power of rain mist. At this moment, the power of mist in the entire 7th layer seemed to be obeying Ning Fan's command. As soon as Ning Fan released the power of yin and yang, he immediately ignored all the power of mist and dashed towards the 8th layer of the Sea of Mist. All of a sudden, the 5 memory breaker old monsters stood up in shock and looked in the direction of the 8th floor in disbelief. 10,000 ancient immortal sovereign. This person was actually an ancient celestial sovereign. If not, it's impossible for him to enter the 8th layer of the Sea of Mist. The chi of this ancient celestial sovereign is so unfamiliar. Even if we have been in seclusion here for millions of years, it's impossible for us not to recognize this person. Could it be that this person has just advanced to the immortal venerable realm? This question arose not only in the minds of the 5 memory breaker old monsters on the 7th floor but also in the minds of the 4 ancient celestial sovereigns on the 8th floor. There were a total of 5 cave dwellings on the 8th floor. However, there were only 3 ancient celestial sovereigns who were in seclusion here. When the 3 ancient celestial sovereigns saw Ning Fan, they immediately walked out of their cave dwellings and greeted him with cupped fists politely. "Fellow Taoist, you look unfamiliar. Are you a new immortal venerable? How should I address you?" Junior Ning Fan greets the 3 immortal venerables. Since the 3 immortal venerables treated him politely, Ning Fan naturally would not be arrogant and returned their greetings politely. As soon as they heard Ning Fan addressing himself as a junior, the 3 immortal venerables were stunned. After pondering for a while, they thought that Ning Fan had probably just advanced to the immortal venerable realm and had yet to adapt to his new identity. That was why he addressed himself as a junior. The 3 of them were not arrogant either. They had already recognized Ning Fan as an ancient celestial sovereign. Thus, they naturally addressed him as a fellow Taoist. After exchanging some pleasantries, Ning Fan also learned the names of the 3 ancient celestial sovereigns. Among the 3 immortal venerables, one of them was an old man in black robes. His name was Immortal Venerable Cloud Thunder and he had the cultivation base of the 2nd eternal tribulation. As for the other 2 immortal venerables, they both had the cultivation base of the 1st eternal tribulation. After a brief introduction, the 3 immortal venerables returned to their respective cave dwellings and continued their secluded cultivation. Ning Fan did not choose a cave dwelling on the 8th floor to cultivate. His purpose of coming here was to enter the demon ancestors' cave dwelling on the 9th floor. Sensing that Ning Fan was heading straight for the 9th floor, Immortal Venerable Cloud Thunder and the others smiled faintly without saying anything. Any immortal venerables or immortal kings who had the ability to enter the 8th floor would certainly try to enter the 9th floor out of curiosity. Unfortunately, only the Divine Void Sovereign Realm and Divine Void Sovereign Realm had the strength to enter the 9th floor. Even if an immortal king who had the 5th eternal tribulation tried to enter the 9th floor recklessly, he would only end up being repelled. All of them had tried to enter the 9th floor before. Unfortunately, with their immortal venerables cultivation base, they could not succeed. In their opinion, Ning Fan certainly would not be able to enter the 9th floor. After all, he was just a newly advanced immortal venerable. Although it sounded nice to say a newly advanced immortal venerable, it was actually a 0 tribulation immortal venerable who had never experienced the baptism of the cataclysm. The 1st eternal tribulation was not the weakest realm among the immortal venerables. The weakest realm was a 0 tribulation immortal venerable. To put it nicely, it was a newly advanced immortal venerable. I wonder how many breaths this person can last in the 9th floor. In the past, when I had just stepped into the eternal tribulation realm, I had also tried to enter the 9th floor. However, I only lasted for 3 breaths before I was repelled. Immortal Venerable Cloud Thunder muttered to himself. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. After 10 breaths, Ning Fan still had not been repelled. The expressions of the 3 immortal venerables began to lose their composure. 20 breaths, 30 breaths, 40 breaths. After 100 breaths, Ning Fan still had not returned to the 8th floor. The expressions of the 3 immortal venerables had turned into shock and horror. In the end, Ning Fan was not repelled by the mist power of the 9th floor. Immortal Venerable Cloud Thunder and the others sucked in a cold breath and looked at the 9th floor in disbelief. Could it be that fellow Taoist Ning is not a newly advanced immortal venerable but an immortal emperor? If that's not the case, how could he have the strength to enter the 9th floor? He is actually an immortal emperor. Since when did such a great sovereign appear in Eastern Heaven? Chapter 852. The 9th level of the Sea of Mist was a world enshrouded by purple mist. The purple mist here was dreamy and illusionary. It gave Ning Fan an extremely familiar feeling. He had seen this kind of purple mist on the 10 Steps Bridge when he was at the Mortal Severing Spirit Severing Realm. The purple mist here not only had the ability to suppress a cultivator's cultivation base and spirit sense but also an irresistible illusory power. The moment Ning Fan stepped into this place, it immediately entered his body. In just a few seconds, layers of illusions appeared in Ning Fan's eyes. His expression changed. These illusions seemed to be real at the same time. Even with his eyesight, he could not see through them. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan immediately activated the Fu Li demon blood in his body. The aura force of his ancestral blood spread to 3 zhang around his body. In his left eye, the Fu Li demon star flickered faintly. Even his body began to emit a purplish-black demonic light. Ning Fan's qi immediately became demonic and evil, making it hard for others to grasp it. As the aura force of the Fu Li ancestral blood shook, the illusions in front of him immediately showed signs of collapsing. The Fu Li clan was known for their illusory techniques. The ancestral blood of the Fu Li clan had a shocking restraining effect against illusory techniques. After the illusions were broken, the purple mist in this place immediately began to roll. As it churned, it formed several gigantic purple palms that slammed towards Ning Fan. The momentum of the gigantic palm was slow, but it was moving at a steady pace. There was an invisible force that pressured Ning Fan so much that he found it hard to breathe. Only a true immortal emperor could resist the aura force of this level. Even an immortal king would not be able to do so. Once an immortal king is hit by the gigantic palms, they would be repelled out of this purple mist world. Ning Fan was no exception. He could not face them head-on. He could only dodge them. Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. He waved his hand to summon Ghost Face. His eyes flashed with green light and he immediately dashed towards the countless gigantic purple palms. Every step he took was stepping on the veins of the grand aura of this place. Although he was walking towards the gigantic palms, due to his strange footwork, the gigantic palms would automatically deviate from his path when they were about to land on his body, brushing past him. At this moment, Ning Fan was walking on the grand aura of heaven and earth, avoiding the gigantic purple palms head-on. Ning Fan did not know how long he had been walking in the purple mist. Gradually, the grand aura of heaven and earth around him disappeared. The further they went, the thicker the purple mist became. 1 hour later, Ning Fan arrived at the end of the purple mist world with great momentum. There were rings of faint golden light spreading out in all directions like ripples of water, dispersing the purple mist. It was a golden island floating in the sky that was emitting a faint golden light. The demonic qi on the island was extremely heavy. The qi of this demonic qi gave Ning Fan a very familiar feeling. It was the same qi as the Eastern Ocean Bell. It should belong to the Eastern demon ancestor. The golden light outside the island formed layers of demon array formations. Without the cultivation of an immortal emperor, it would be very difficult to barge into the array formations and enter the world on the island. This demon island was where the demon ancestor's cave abode was located. With his current cultivation base, it was impossible for him to break this golden formation. If they were to barge into the formation on the island, they would be directly turned into ashes by the formation. The 9th level of the Sea of Fog is indeed not a place that ordinary cultivators can enter. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. Then, he suddenly bent his palm and summoned the Eastern Ocean Bell from the profound Een world. Then, he struck out a hand seal at the bell. Immediately, the Eastern Ocean Bell trembled slightly and let out an ancient and deep bell ring. Rings of faint golden light spread out in all directions. This was Ning Fan's attempt to see if he could use the Eastern Ocean Bell to break the grand formation of the island. The result of his attempt satisfied Ning Fan. As the Eastern Ocean Bell rang, a golden passageway immediately appeared above the grand formation of the island. This grand formation seemed to be welcoming Ning Fan's return. Because Ning Fan had the Eastern Ocean Bell, it made the grand formation treat Ning Fan as the previous owner of this island, the Eastern Demon Ancestor. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan finally took a step forward and entered the golden passageway. When he felt that everything was normal, he continued to move forward. He passed through the passageway and went straight to the Demon Island. The Demon Island was barren. The mountain range on the island was winding. Looking at it from afar, the mountain looked like a giant golden crow that was slumbering here. In the depths of the mountain range, there was an ancient cave abode. It was the place where the Eastern Demon Ancestor used to go into seclusion. It was a cave abode that had been empty for many years. The items inside the cave abode had long been taken away by the godly Void Pavilion, leaving only an empty house. As soon as he stepped on the path, the Eastern Ocean Bell immediately trembled slightly as if it was very happy. Almost without Ning Fan's control, the Eastern Ocean Bell turned into a ray of golden light and flew towards the direction of the cave abode. When it arrived at the cave abode, it was empty and dusty. There was no trace of its owner. The Eastern Ocean Bell trembled on its own, emitting waves of mournful bell chimes. Treasures were yearning for their owner. Unfortunately, their owner was long gone. Ning Fan followed closely behind the Eastern Ocean Bell and arrived at the empty cave abode. When he felt a trace of sorrow from the Eastern Ocean Bell, his heart was slightly touched. The Eastern Demon Ancestor had fallen countless years ago. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Under the heavens, perhaps only a magical treasure like the Eastern Ocean Bell still missed the Eastern Demon Ancestor. Be quiet. You still have me, your owner. Ning Fan approached the Eastern Ocean Bell, reached out his hand and gently stroked the cold body of the bell, as if he was coaxing a child. It was unknown if Ning Fan's words had an effect. The Eastern Ocean Bell gradually stopped emitting the sorrowful feeling and began to calm down. Ning Fan let out a faint sigh and kept the Eastern Ocean Bell back into the profound Een world. Then, he wandered around the cave abode alone. The only thing that attracted Ning Fan's attention in this empty cave abode was the ancient tablet inscriptions on the stone walls. Most of the inscriptions were murals. A small portion of them were ancient characters of the demon race that Ning Fan could not understand. Those characters seemed to be describing the contents of the murals. There were a total of hundreds of murals. The first one was a huge egg. Around the egg were clouds that were formed by the interweaving of clear and turbid qi. Even though Ning Fan could not understand the characters of the ancient demons, he could tell that the egg in the murals was a huge demon cocoon. On the surface of the demon cocoon, there were 3 circles. The outer circle surrounded the inner circle. Ning Fan walked forward and looked at the second mural. In the second mural, the demon cocoon had been broken and a golden crow flew out from it. In the third mural, the golden crow had turned into a human form. It was a wild young man with a blurred face. Although Ning Fan could not see the young man's face clearly, he could feel a violent and domineering aura from him. In the fourth mural, there was only a back view of the young man. Ning Fan had seen that back view before. In the 9 divisions of the Lu clan, he had once comprehended the prestige word art of Ancestor Emperor Dongming. At that time, he had seen the back view of Ancestor Emperor Dongming. Could it be that these murals depict the life of Ancestor Dongming? Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. In the 5th mural, The young man was cultivating some kind of ability. There was a giant bell hovering above his head and 3 halos were in his palms. Those 3 halos were obviously spirit wheels. When Ning Fan saw the 5th mural, his Fuli spirit wheel that had yet to materialize suddenly flew out of his body and emitted a strange purplish-black light. At this moment, the spirit wheels in the mural and the spirit wheels that Ning Fan had cultivated seemed to resonate with each other. At this moment, the stone door of the cave abode suddenly fell down with a loud bang and closed completely. The golden light of the formation on the demon island immediately converged towards the cave abode. Ning Fan's expression changed. How could he not know that his spirit wheels had triggered some kind of change? He did not know whether this change was good or bad. It might have triggered some kind of opportunity or it might be a sign of impending danger. According to Ning Fan's character, as long as there is a possibility of danger, he would certainly not stay in the cave abode and wait for death. Just as he was about to destroy the stone door of the cave abode and leave, the Eastern Ocean bell in the profound Een world gently trembled at this moment, as if it was comforting Ning Fan, telling him not to worry too much about this change. Ning Fan's raised hand finally lowered it. Green light flashed in his eyes. He saw that the great force of this place was triggered by the change in the cave abode, but it did not have any hostility towards him. Will this be an opportunity? Ning Fan turned his head and looked at the 5th mural. His eyes narrowed and he finally made up his mind. He did not leave. A few breaths later, countless rays of golden light surged into the cave abode. The ancient characters on the wall of the cave abode that were difficult to distinguish immediately flew out from the stone wall and turned into rays of golden light, entering Ning Fan's head. Countless information immediately appeared in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. No divine void great emperor had ever seen through the secret of the ancient characters of the cave abode. Today, when Ning Fan summoned his spirit wheel in this cave abode, he had unknowingly triggered a great inheritance that the Eastern demon ancestor had left for his descendants. Junior demon, since you have the spirit wheel, you are qualified to receive my inheritance. This is the secret character of force. It was as if there were countless bells ringing in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. When the ringing of the bells faded away, an ancient voice was left behind. It was as if there was an invisible force that immediately strengthened Ning Fan's body. Ning Fan's expression changed. He immediately sat cross-legged in front of the 5th mural, closed his eyes and entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, Ning Fan finally understood that the characters on the wall of the cave abode were actually one of the 2 great absolute arts of the Eastern demon ancestor, the secret character of force. The Eastern demon ancestor was born in the Golden Crow race. He had created 2 great absolute arts, the secret character of prestige and force. He wasn't a stingy person. He had passed the secret character of prestige and force to his descendants through various means. As long as it was fated, anyone would have the chance to comprehend these 2 great absolute arts. The secret character of prestige was different from the secret character of prestige. It recorded the secret character of prestige and force to his descendants through various means. As long as it was fated, anyone would have the chance to comprehend these 2 great absolute arts. The secret character of prestige was different from the secret character of prestige. It described the secret of absorbing the great force of heaven and earth for one's own use. If one could comprehend it, he would be able to strengthen his control over the great force of heaven and earth. All the formations in this world were inseparable from the use of force. Without force, there wouldn't be a formation. If force was integrated into one's divine ability, it could also increase the power of the divine ability. If Ning Fan could comprehend the secret character of force, the benefits he would obtain would naturally be great. Unfortunately, the characters on the wall only contained the secret character of force, without the secret character of heart. In order to obtain the secret character of force and completely comprehend the secret character of force, he must pass a test. Junior, answer me. What is force in your eyes? A disdainful voice resounded in Ning Fan's mind for a long time. In the world of his mind, Ning Fan was standing on the sea of clouds, looking at a huge shadow of a golden crow in his mind. The golden crow was too huge. When it spread its wings, it could cover the entire sky of Ning Fan's mind. The golden crow's demonic eyes stared at Ning Fan, waiting for his answer. The chi of the golden crow gave Ning Fan an invisible sense of oppression. The oppression was not much weaker than the one ancient chaos gave Ning Fan. The golden crow was a shadow of the eastern demon ancestor in Ning Fan's mind. If Ning Fan's answer could satisfy the golden crow would bestow Ning Fan the complete inheritance of force. Ning Fan realized that he had to answer the question of the golden crow seriously. Otherwise, he might miss a great opportunity. He pondered for a long time, recalling the path of cultivation that he had gone through along the way. He didn't answer the golden crow's question directly. Instead, he raised his finger and pointed at the Lian mountain in his mind. In the eyes of the people, this mountain is force. There can't be a mountain without force. To the mountain, it is force that is unshakable. The golden crow didn't comment on Ning Fan's answer. Ning Fan didn't mind it either. He raised his finger again and pointed at the sea of clouds beside him. In the eyes of the people, this cloud is force. When the clouds move, there will be a great change. The golden crow still didn't show any expression. Obviously, it wasn't satisfied with such an answer. Ning Fan pointed at the ground and then at the sky. In the eyes of the people, the sky has a high and mighty force. This land has the force that will always be below it. The golden crow snorted and said impatiently, "Junior, I'm asking about the force in your eyes, not the force in the eyes of the people." "Senior, don't be impatient. Let Junior finish speaking." Ning Fan's eyes suddenly changed. Green light flashed continuously. He looked at the Lian mountain below him. Gradually, his eyes were filled with a domineering and disdainful expression. High mountains and low mountains all have their own force. But if there is no mountain in my eyes, then the mountain will have no force to speak of. Then, Ning Fan raised his finger and pointed at the flowing clouds and said, "If there are no clouds in my eyes, no matter how erratic the clouds are, they will never be able to cover my eyes." Ning Fan pointed at the earth, then pointed at the sky and suddenly smiled. The heaven seals the top and the earth seals the bottom. The cultivators who are in between the heaven and earth can naturally feel the momentum of the heaven and earth, but if my heart is higher than the heaven and thicker than the earth, then the momentum of the heaven and earth will immediately disperse in front of me. In Junior's eyes, everything has momentum, but none of them can be relied on. This is Junior's answer. Along the way, Ning Fan's thoughts about the general trend of heaven and earth were no longer the same as before. When the rain doesn't come, there will be momentum. When the mountain doesn't move, there will be momentum. When the dragon hides in the abyss, there will be momentum. When the green insect spins its cocoon, there will be momentum. When the human king doesn't kill, there will be momentum. When the world doesn't fight, there will be momentum. In the past, Ning Fan's understanding of momentum was the tendency of the evolution of all living things. Currently, Ning Fan's understanding of power was to explore the essence of power. The reason why the momentum of the heaven and earth could suppress the cultivators was because the heaven and earth was higher than the cultivators and had momentum to rely on. The reason why mortals could feel the height of the mountain and the vastness of the sea was because they were lower than the mountain and insignificant compared to the sea. If the man was taller than the mountain, then the momentum of the mountain would collapse. If the heart was wider than the sea, then the momentum of the sea would no longer exist. Everything has no momentum to rely on. What do you think of this old man's momentum? A golden light flashed in the golden crow's eyes. A momentum that felt like the sky could destroy everything immediately fell on Ning Fan's body. When this momentum swept across, it immediately made Ning Fan's mind and world feel like it was about to collapse. Ning Fan's mind was on the verge of collapse, but his expression was still calm. He was weaker than the golden crow, so naturally, he couldn't escape the suppression of the golden crow's momentum. On the other hand, if his cultivation base was higher than the golden crow one day, then this momentum wouldn't be worth mentioning at all. He didn't say a word, but conveyed his thoughts to the golden crow with the same unchanging expression. The golden crow finally revealed a satisfied look. If Ning Fan had the slightest bit of fear towards its momentum, it wouldn't have imparted the secret of the word momentum to Ning Fan. You are qualified to receive this old man's inheritance. Receive the secret. The shadow of the golden crow suddenly shattered into countless golden lights. These golden lights all merged into Ning Fan's mind. Immediately, some ancient and profound heart mantras gradually appeared in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Ning Fan sat in the demon ancestor's cave for 7 days. On the 8th day, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His gaze seemed to have become more profound and immeasurable. The yin-yang demon eyes that he had cultivated in the past was revealed at this moment. The yin-yang demon eyes was the acquired Dharma eye that Ning Fan cultivated after devouring the desire-resolving pearl. With this acquired Dharma eye, Ning Fan could display a type of chaotic world purple mist divine ability, subduing female cultivators with purple mist. For 7 days, Ning Fan was comprehending the secret of the word momentum. After comprehending the secret of the word momentum, his acquired Dharma eye began to evolve towards the innate realm. It didn't evolve into the innate realm immediately, but there was already a trend of evolution. Moreover, after comprehending the secret of the word momentum, his yin-yang demon eyes gained another ability, the ability to see the invisible grand momentum. Ning Fan stood up and walked towards the stone door of the cave. Due to the formation, the stone door automatically closed. In the past, Ning Fan had to break the stone door in order to walk out of the cave. However, at this moment, Ning Fan's demon eyes swept across the stone door and immediately saw through the veins of the formation. He raised his palm and moved at lightning speed, changing the formation on the stone door. It was obviously an extremely profound formation, but in front of Ning Fan, it was like a naked woman. Everything was exposed without any concealment. With Ning Fan's previous cultivation base in the Tao of formations, it was impossible for him to change such a profound formation. However, this time, Ning Fan borrowed the power of the acquired Dharma eye to see through the grand momentum of the formation and changed it. The stone door opened with a rumbling sound. Ning Fan's eyes became a little more solemn. When he looked at the grand formation of the demon island outside the cave, everything was also clear. However, his cultivation base was still low. He could still change the formation of the stone door, but he couldn't directly change the grand formation of the demon island for the time being. After comprehending the secret of the word momentum, the grand formation of heaven and earth is almost exposed to my eyes. Ning Fan returned to the cave and walked to the front of the 5th mural. Looking at the countless formation veins on the 5th mural, he smiled faintly. There were a total of 100 murals in this cave. However, only the 5th mural had a special formation. The inheritance that the Eastern demon ancestor left in the cave was not only the secret of the word momentum. There was a second inheritance hidden in the 5th mural. If one couldn't truly comprehend the secret of the word momentum in the first inheritance, he wouldn't be able to activate the second inheritance. The first inheritance was the inheritance of the word momentum, while the second inheritance was hidden under the formation. It was the inheritance of the spirit wheel. Ning Fan moved at lightning speed, changing the formation on the 5th mural. Gradually, the 5th mural changed. In the mural, the 3 spirit wheel halos on the palm of the young man suddenly shone with golden light. Immediately, Ning Fan's sea of consciousness trembled and his consciousness was pulled into the mural. In the vast starry sky of the world in the mural, a domineering young man with golden hair and golden robes was sitting cross-legged in the starry sky. He was the shadow in the painting of the Eastern demon ancestor. As the starry sky trembled, another Ning Fan appeared in the world in the mural. "Oh, you've obtained the inheritance of the secret of the word momentum?" The Eastern demon ancestor's eyes moved slightly and looked at Ning Fan. Just a glance from him seemed to be able to annihilate the entire starry sky. Junior Ning Fan greets the Eastern demon ancestor. Ning Fan cupped his fists and bowed to the Eastern demon ancestor. Since you can come to this world in the painting, you're qualified to obtain another inheritance of mine. Is your spirit will the Li wheel of the Fu Li clan? It seems like it hasn't completely condensed yet. The Eastern demon ancestor pointed at Ning Fan from afar. Immediately, a ray of purplish-black light flew out from Ning Fan's body and turned into the shadow of the Fu Li spirit wheel. Next, I'll teach you the 5 spirit wheel technique. This technique was originally passed down by the immortal sovereign to all ancient demons. Unfortunately, I'm afraid there aren't many people in this world who can understand this technique. After obtaining this technique, if you have enough aptitude, you can cultivate the first spirit wheel and the demon's spiritual power. As for the second spirit wheel, you can also cultivate it if you're fated enough. The third spirit wheel is the dividing line between true and void in this world. Whether you can cultivate it or not will depend on your luck. The fourth spirit wheel is the limit of samsara. You might not be able to cultivate it. As for the fifth spirit wheel, it's a realm that even immortal sovereigns can't cultivate. Even in the outer world, there isn't any immortal sovereign who can cultivate it. That's the end of the dream. Ask the world, who can go against the mortal world and wake up from the dream? You can't and I can't. All living beings are in a dream. I'll give you this technique. The Eastern demon ancestor suddenly raised his head and let out a sigh. As he waved his hand, rays of golden light shot into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. The moment the information entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. He exited the world in the mural and returned to his cave dwelling. The light of the spirit wheel circled around his body. The spirit wheel was originally illusory, but at this moment, it actually showed signs of solidifying. Ning Fan's mind returned to normal. Without saying a word, he immediately sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes, entering a state of cultivation. At this moment, his illusory spirit wheel had a chance to solidify. He must seize this opportunity. He was like an old monk who entered a meditative state. Under the control of his spirit sense, the illusory spirit wheel flew out of the cave dwelling, out of the demon cave and into the world of purple mist. The 5 spirit wheel technique was a secret technique to cultivate one spirit wheel. It was the highest secret technique of the ancient demon clan. In ancient times, there were countless ancient demons who practiced this technique. In the later generations, however, this technique had been lost. Today, this technique had fallen into Ning Fan's hands. With this technique, it wouldn't be difficult for Ning Fan to solidify his spirit wheel and cultivate it to the first spirit wheel realm. However, in order to solidify his spirit wheel, he would need a vast amount of energy that corresponded to the spirit wheel. The power of the Fu Li spirit wheel was illusion. This illusion could create samsara and destroy the vault of heaven. In the 9th level of the Sea of Mist, there was a large amount of purple mist which contained the power of illusion techniques. As long as he devoured enough purple mist, it wouldn't be difficult for him to solidify his spirit wheel. First spirit wheel of the 5 spirit wheel, solidify for me. Ning Fan's eyes turned sharp. At this moment, the ancestral blood pressure of the Fu Li bloodline crazily spread to every corner of the 9th level. Chapter 853. Ning Fan sat cross-legged inside the demon ancestor's dwelling. He was controlling the Fu Li spiritual wheel to devour large amounts of purple mist outside the island. Starting from the 6th mural, it described the secrets of the ancient demon clan. Rays of golden light continuously flew out from the 100 murals and entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness, causing some secrets to gradually appear in his mind. He understood that in ancient times, every ancient demon would cultivate the 5 spirit wheel technique in order to cultivate demon spirit energy. He understood that the ancient gods cultivated magic power, the ancient demons cultivated essence energy, and the ancient demons cultivated spiritual power. Spiritual force was the foundation of ancient demons. He had learned that immortal Emperor Zido's original form was a demon. The Zido immortal domain was a world where demons were revered. Gods were after demons and devils were below gods. The 5 spiritual wheels art divided the cultivation of the spiritual wheels into 5 stages. In total, one had to cultivate 5 natal spiritual wheels. Every time the ancient demon completed a stage, the number of natal spirit wheels would increase by 1. If he didn't have this technique, He would probably need to use his spirit wheel to devour countless unyielding demon souls to solidify his spirit wheel. With this technique, Ning Fan was confident that he would be able to form his first spiritual wheel in the 9th level of the Misty Sea. In the world of purple mist, the Fu Li spiritual wheel was under Ning Fan's control. It turned into a 100 zhang large purplish-black whirlpool which crazily devoured the surrounding purple mist. The purple mist in the 9th level was originally extremely dense. However, as Ning Fan crazily devoured the purple mist, the purple color of the mist became lighter and lighter. The illusionary power in the purple mist was devoured by the spirit wheel. During the refinement process, a purplish-black spirit force was formed and separated from the spirit wheel, swimming toward the cave abode of the demon ancestor. Countless threads of spirit power flowed into Ning Fan's body, causing a dark purple flame to burn on the surface of his body. The purplish-black flames separated into countless fiery threads which gradually formed a gigantic demon cocoon, trapping Ning Fan within it. Inside the cocoon, the ancient phase aura grew stronger day by day. On the first day, Ning Fan's spiritual power was only equivalent to a 9th level vein opening cultivator. On the second day, Ning Fan's cultivation had reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm. On the third day, Ning Fan's cultivation base had reached late gold core realm. On the fourth day, his spiritual power broke through to the mid-nascent soul realm. Time passed day by day. The speed at which Ning Fan's ancient demon cultivation base increased began to slow down. The purple mist in the outside world also became thinner and thinner. As his spiritual wheels gradually solidified, Ning Fan could faintly feel that the innate ability of Fu Li in his body was beginning to truly awaken. On the 49th day, there was no longer a trace of purple in the mist of the 9th layer. At this moment, the demon cocoon suddenly cracked open. A purple-black shadow flew out from the cocoon and turned into a ray of purple light. It flew out of the cave and spread its wings above the demon island. It was a purplish-black winged demon with an evil and ferocious aura. Its body was flowing with the aura force of a peak void fragmentation realm expert. The winged demon's body grew with the wind, instantly growing to a length of 500,000 feet. When it spread its wings, it could blot out the sky. This winged demon was none other than Ning Fan's Fu Li demon image. However, at this moment, this demon image was showing signs of evolving. The Fu Li race was a race that refused to surrender even in the face of death. The monsters in the race were all winged monsters, but their appearances were ever-changing. After continuously devouring the purple mist for 49 days, his Fu Li spiritual wheel had already reached the edge of being completely solidified. His cultivation base was only one step away from breaking through the second step and entering the human profound realm. Finally, his Fu Li demon image began to change. The feathers on the wings gradually disappeared and turned into purplish-black powder. The sharp beak also gradually disappeared in the purple light. The purple light became brighter and brighter. The gigantic winged demon gradually turned into a giant butterfly with black wings and purple eyes. At the moment when the black butterfly demon image was completely solidified, shadows of black butterflies suddenly flew out from Ning Fan's spiritual wheels. A strong aura force immediately spread out from the spiritual wheels. At the same time, the aura force of the giant butterfly also broke through to the early human profound realm. Is this my Fu Li demon image? Zili is the peacock demon image and I am the butterfly. The giant butterfly muttered something to itself. The wings of the butterfly retracted. Amidst the purplish-black demonic light, the giant butterfly turned back into Ning Fan's figure. At this moment, his appearance did not change at all. The only difference was that there was a pair of black butterfly wings on his back. The 8 wings of the previous devil image had fused into the butterfly wings. The butterfly wings flapped and Ning Fan immediately turned into a ray of purplish-black light, speeding away. The butterfly wings could increase Ning Fan's speed on the basis of his original speed. The first natal spiritual wheel was completely formed. His ancient demon cultivation base had also broken through to the early human profound realm after devouring the purple mist crazily. With the help of the butterfly wings, Ning Fan did not consume any magical power and his speed was comparable to a late true crossing realm expert. And this was the speed of Ning Fan when the yin and yang power of the rain was still unsealed. As the yin and yang power of the rain was unsealed, Ning Fan's speed skyrocketed again. In this state, his speed was almost comparable to skyrending. With a thought, the divine, demon and devil bloodlines in Ning Fan's body began to burn. With a wave of his hand he summoned the ghost face. Immediately, golden flames appeared on the surface of Ning Fan's body. His body turned into a golden rainbow and disappeared in a flash. This golden rainbow escape technique was the piercing golden light. The speed of the piercing golden light was already comparable to the ancient demon. As Ning Fan summoned the butterfly wings, the speed of the golden light increased by more than a few times. The innate abilities of the Fu Li clan were speed and illusion techniques. The transformation of his demon form allowed him to cultivate butterfly wings which could greatly increase his speed. After cultivating the first wheel of the 5 spirits, my cultivation base has broken through to the early human profound realm and changed my demon appearance. The first innate ability of the Fu Li clan that I awakened is to summon the butterfly wings to fly. With a thought, the butterfly wings were immediately kept back into Ning Fan's body. Ning Fan waved his palm at the purplish-black whirlpool in the distance. The light of the whirlpool immediately dispersed and turned into a palm-sized purplish-black halo, flying back to Ning Fan's palm. Ning Fan stretched out his palm and the purplish-black spirit wheel rotated on his palm. The second innate ability that he awakened was illusion technique. After keeping the spirit wheel back into his body, Ning Fan formed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Immediately, countless purple mist was produced between heaven and earth. The ability of this purple mist was similar to the purple mist in the 9th level of the Misty Sea, just that its power was slightly weaker. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, the purple mist was enough to trap early and intermediate true crossing realm cultivators who fell into the purple mist into an illusion technique attack. Releasing the illusion purple mist was only a part of the ability of Ning Fan's second innate ability. Ning Fan changed his hand seal. Under his control, the purple mist that was released from the illusion technique flew towards him. The reason why he did that was to test the other ability of his second innate ability. As soon as Ning Fan fell into the purple mist, countless illusions immediately appeared in his eyes. He did not deliberately see through these illusions. He just stood in the illusions and uttered the word, reverse. In an instant, all the illusions that attacked Ning Fan were reflected back. The second innate ability of the Fu Li clan could not only release and see through illusions, but also reflect them. Reflecting illusion technique. Not a bad innate ability. Ning Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. There were not many cultivators in the 4 heavens who knew illusion techniques. At most, they could integrate illusion techniques into magical treasures and formations. However, among the demon race in the upper world, illusion techniques were an extremely common means of attack. After mastering the ability to reflect illusion techniques, Ning Fan would certainly have the upper hand if he were to encounter demons who were proficient in illusion techniques in the future. The awakening of the 2 innate abilities was considered as an unexpected surprise to Ning Fan. Of course, what he was most satisfied with was the solidification of the Fu Li spirit wheel. The existence of the spirit wheel could generate spiritual power. The existence of spiritual power could strengthen the senses of an ancient demon cultivator's spirit sense. It didn't increase the realm of the spirit sense. Instead, it increased the range, distance and precision of the senses by several times. After forming the first natal spirit wheel, the realm of Ning Fan's spirit sense did not improve. However, his control over his spirit sense had greatly improved. By meticulously controlling the power of his spirit sense, the current Ning Fan could spread his spirit sense 3 times further than before. His 5 senses were more than a few times sharper than before. Even the power of the medicine soul in his body was more sensitive than before. If I concoct pills with such a state, the quality of the pills I concoct would be much higher. Ancient God Heart Orifice, Ancient Devil Talisman, Ancient Demon Spirit Wheel. Only now can I be considered to have truly stepped into the realm of cultivating the three clans at the same time. The Fuli spirit can cultivate by devouring the illusory power. The illusory power of the 9th level of the purple mist is extremely strong. That's why I was able to form the first natal spirit wheel in one go. In order to form the second natal spirit wheel, the illusory power required is too huge. It's at least 1,000 times more than the first spiritual wheel, and the time needed to form the second natal spirit wheel will certainly be very long. To form the first spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the early human profound realm. To form the second spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the peak of shedding void realm. To form the third spiritual wheel, my demon spiritual power needs to reach the quasi-saint realm. The Eastern demon ancestor has only formed 3 natal spirit wheels. He hasn't formed the 4th, so he doesn't know what conditions are needed to form the 4th and 5th spiritual wheel. Ning Fan kept the spiritual wheels and returned to the cave dwelling of the Eastern demon ancestor. His eyes swept across the murals on the walls and sighed. From the cave dwelling left by the Eastern demon ancestor, Ning Fan had obtained 2 great inheritances, the secret word, power, and the 5 spiritual wheel. His heart was filled with gratitude towards the Eastern demon ancestor. The Eastern Ocean Bell, the Heaven Sealing Technique, the secret word, power, the secret word, power, the 5 spiritual wheel. Along the way, Ning Fan had obtained too many opportunities from the Eastern demon ancestor. The Eastern demon ancestor had already passed away. The only thing Ning Fan could do to repay the Eastern demon ancestor was to light a few joss sticks outside the cave dwelling and bow respectfully towards it. The purple mist of the 9th level had been devoured by Ning Fan, turning into a faint white mist. As time passed, the white mist would slowly turn into purple mist, but no one knew when it would be fully formed. No one knew that Ning Fan had obtained the inheritance of the ancestral emperor in the 9th level of the Sea of Mist. Only the godly Void Pavilion knew that Ning Fan had devoured the purple mist of this level. Ning Fan left and returned to the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist. Along the way, those old monsters who cultivated in the 5th level and below showed a look of eagerness to strike up a conversation when they saw Ning Fan walking out. Ning Fan could only respond to their enthusiasm with a bitter smile. The 3 immortal venerables in the 8th level treated him as an immortal emperor. The 5 thought-breaking demons in the 7th level treated him as an immortal venerable, and the old monsters in the 6th and 5th level also treated him as a thought-breaking demon. Unfortunately, Ning Fan wasn't a thought-breaking demon, an ancient immortal venerable, or an immortal emperor. When he announced his true cultivation base, all the old monsters were dumbfounded. This young man is actually just at the peak ghost profound realm. How is this possible? Countless old monsters cried out involuntarily. In the 2nd level of the Sea of Mist, Sun Si and the other 3 elders were guarding the 8 treasure vaults of Eastern Ming Island. As soon as they saw Ning Fan, the 4 of them immediately went out to welcome him respectfully and thanked him. "Thank you, Immortal Monarch, for helping us move Eastern Ming Island back to where it used to be. We can't thank you enough. It's just a small matter. I'm going to enter the treasure vaults to retrieve some items. I hope that the elders can make things convenient for me." Sure. Immortal Monarch has given an order to Old Ancestor. Even if you want to empty these 8 treasure vaults, we certainly won't dare to stop you. Of course, with Immortal Monarch's reputation, you probably won't do such a thing, right? Sun Si and the others laughed while looking at Ning Fan carefully. It had been nearly 2 months since Ning Fan entered the lower level of the Sea of Mist. More than that, Ning Fan's body seemed to have undergone a tremendous change. As for what exactly the change was, Sun Si and the others could not see through it. Ning Fan had already refined the innate ghost face. Now, he had even awakened the innate illusory technique of the Fu Li clan. There was an illusory spiritual power in his body which could isolate the senses of others. In addition to the ability of the innate ghost face, even the Divine Void Emperor and the Divine Void Emperor would not be able to see through him, let alone Sun Si and the others. Ning Fan bid farewell to Sun Si and the others. He held the token and entered the 8 treasure vaults alone. There were a total of 8 treasure vaults on eastern Ming Island. The first 5 treasure vaults stored a large amount of first-step cultivation resources. To Ning Fan, they were not very useful. However, he still went to the first 5 treasure vaults and retrieved some useful items for the female cultivators in the Profound Yin world to cultivate. The female cultivators in the Profound Yin world were the same as the women in the Rain world. They never lacked cultivation resources. Due to their limited innate talent, there were naturally a small number of women who could not cultivate to the Divine Transformation realm, Void Refinement realm, or Void Fragmentation realm in their lifetime. However, it was still a piece of cake for them to cultivate to the nascent soul realm and have a lifespan of thousands of years. After all, there were countless cultivation resources piled up behind them. In the 6th treasure vault, there were all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures required by life-immortal realm cultivators. The 7th treasury contained the items that Du Jin needed. The 8th treasury contained the items that Shikong needed. The old monsters above Shikong usually had their own clans. The items they needed for cultivation were either bestowed by the 2 emperors or provided by their clans. They rarely took anything from the main pavilion of the merchant pavilion. Some precious items would not be placed in the main pavilion. They would be personally managed by the 2 emperors of each generation to prevent the godly void pavilion from stealing what's in their hands. In these treasure vaults, the most precious items that Ning Fan found were just the void-shedding Dao fruit, a 9-revolution silver-grade pill, and a mid-grade Dao marrow. In terms of quality, it might not be as good as the Luo clan's treasury. After all, the higher-grade items were in the hands of the 2 thearchs. In terms of quantity, the Luo family would never be able to compete with them. Ning Fan stayed in the last 3 treasure vaults for 2 hours. No one knew how many items he had taken from the treasure vaults. After Ning Fan left, Sun Si and the other 3 elders of the trading pavilion entered the treasure vault to check the items. Immediately, they were dumbfounded. A total of 368 bottles of 9 revolutions lead pills and silver pills were missing. There were 7,156 bottles of pills below the 8th revolution. He had lost 790 life immortal Dao fruits. 58 truth purification Dao fruits were missing. He had lost 12 void-shedding Dao fruits. He had lost 237 drops of inferior-grade Dao marrow. He had lost 62 drops of middle-grade Dao marrow. There were 5 trillion less Dao crystals. The rest of the losses were incalculable. Is this the character of the Rain Immortal Monarch? He really dared to take it? Isn't he afraid of offending the 2 emperors by doing this? An elder's face was filled with black lines. Obviously, he had underestimated Ning Fan's moral integrity. Ning Fan was neither a relative nor a friend of the godly Void Pavilion. His good impression of him was close to 0. If he could take something for free, why wouldn't he take it? So what if I empty the treasury? Given his identity, even the 2 sovereigns wouldn't dare to touch him. Moreover, I heard that old ancestor Xiang seems to admire Rain Immortal Monarch very much. The things that Immortal Monarch took away are useless to the 2 sovereigns. Why would the 2 sovereigns make things difficult for Immortal Monarch for these things? Sun Si calmed himself down and said disapprovingly, no matter what, they had to report the items missing from the treasury to the pavilion master and the 2 emperors. As for whether the 2 emperors would ignore this matter, it was not their concern. Ning Fan returned to the little demoness bedroom. After a brief moment of intimacy with her, he immediately went into seclusion. Currently, Ning Fan's cultivation base was stuck at the peak of the Ghost Profound realm. It had reached its limit. Unless he breaks through to the Crossing True realm, consuming the Dao fruits would just be a waste. Ning Fan gave some of the Dao fruits to the little demoness. While Ning Fan was in seclusion, the little demoness also began to cultivate. When the Divine Void Emperors received the report from Sun Si and the others, they did not take it to heart. They only ordered them not to spread the news of Ning Fan taking the treasures. Ning Fan found a stone chamber in the palace and went into seclusion for 4 years. During these 4 years, he only did one thing, to refine all the low-grade and mid-grade Dao marrow in his hands. To body cultivators, the Dao marrow was a supreme treasure that could improve their body refining realm. Ning Fan's magic power and cultivation base were stuck at a bottleneck while his ancient devil cultivation base had already broken through to the heavenly devil realm. After 4 years of arduous cultivation, Ning Fan had refined all the Dao marrow. His ancient devil cultivation base skyrocketed, reaching the peak of the first nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. He only needed an opportunity to break through to the second nirvana of the heavenly devil realm. The little demoness was still in seclusion in the stone chamber. She was refining a large number of Dao fruits that Ning Fan had given her to break through the bottleneck of the mid-human profound realm. Perhaps in a few years or a few decades, she would certainly break through to the mid-human profound realm. Ning Fan stood outside the stone chamber of the little demoness. His eyes were filled with emotions. He was ready to leave the Eastern Sea Star region. However, the little demoness did not want to go with him. She was no longer a sacrificial offering and there was no longer any danger. She wanted to stay in the Godly Void Pavilion and become the true young lord of the Godly Void Pavilion. She wanted to raise her status step by step and take control of the Godly Void Pavilion to become Ning Fan's assistant. Since the little demoness was unwilling to leave, Ning Fan naturally would not force her. The Godly Void Pavilion had ancient chaos. She was no longer a sacrificial offering. This place was very safe. Inside the stone chamber, the little demoness was not cultivating. She was also looking at Ning Fan through the thick stone door. She knew that Ning Fan had decided to leave. He had too many things to do. The Eastern Sea Star region could not keep him. However, she did not want to stay by Ning Fan's side and be a useless vase. She wanted to stay in the Godly Void Pavilion and use the power of the Godly Void Pavilion to help Ning Fan when he needed it. I'm leaving. You keep this jade pendant. If there's any danger, break this jade pendant. Unless it's a last resort, do not easily break it. Ning Fan's voice suddenly came from outside the stone door. In the next moment, a ray of light flashed and flew into the stone door. It turned into an Emperor Sense jade pendant and fell into the little demoness' hand. Psst, psst. The little demoness looked at the Emperor Sense jade pendant in disbelief. The soft spot in her heart was immediately hit. She naturally recognized this jade pendant. It was the Emperor Sense jade pendant. It should be a life-saving item given to Ning Fan by Ancient Chaos Great Emperor, but Ning Fan gave it to her. The little demoness hurriedly pushed open the stone door and wanted to return the jade pendant to Ning Fan. She knew that Ning Fan had become famous in one battle. It seemed glorious, but in reality his position was even more dangerous. He had already attracted the attention of countless Eastern Sky old monsters. Ning Fan needed this jade to protect himself more than her. Unfortunately, when she walked out of the stone door, Ning Fan had already left. There was no trace of Ning Fan anymore. I still have something to do. I'll come back to see you after I'm done. Take care of yourself. If you've lost a bit of weight when I return, I'll definitely punish you. Ning Fan's voice blended into the misty rain and drifted into the little demoness' ears. There was a hint of teasing in his voice. Naturally, the punishment would be very erotic. The little demoness spat in annoyance. Little Fan Fan was indeed the successor of Ancient Chaos Great Emperor. Even his words of farewell were so lewd, but why did her heart feel a little empty and uncomfortable? A gentle breeze blew past the little demoness' hair. It was so gentle, but it also felt a little lonely. The little demoness who only knew how to smile all the time also felt a little gloomy. Ning Fan decided to leave Dongming province. His original intention was to find the true Thunder World after the tomb competition to complete the task entrusted to him by Lightning Emperor Taisu. Of course, he still had another mission, which was to reach the fourth transformation of the combat art before the combat king's body decayed. Regarding the cultivation of the war god art, Ning Fan had made a new decision. After obtaining the chaotic rings art, he had a faster cultivation method. Ning Fan did not know the location of the true Thunder World. In order to find it, he must first go to the 3000th Thunder World to find someone and see if he could find out the location of the true Thunder World from him. There was an ancient teleportation formation built near the 3000th Thunder World. That teleportation formation could lead to the savage battlefield of the Divine Demon World. Ning Fan made up his mind. Before leaving Dongming Star region, he went to visit Xiang Bozi and Lu Wen. Visiting Xiang Bozi was out of etiquette. Visiting Lu Wen was out of gratitude. During the tomb competition, Lu Wen had helped Ning Fan greatly. Ning Fan was very grateful towards him, so he naturally paid him a visit. In name, he was still the sworn brother of the Plague King, wasn't he? As soon as he saw Ning Fan, Lu Wen immediately held a banquet and invited countless beauties to entertain Ning Fan. Lu Wen still had no idea about Ning Fan's true cultivation base. He still did not know that Ning Fan was not a cultivator of the Southern Clan. What he was shocked about was that Ning Fan was actually the successor of Ancient Chaos. He actually called his master Ancient Chaos over and scared the members of the Dark Clan. He inwardly guessed that Ning Fan's mission in Dongming Star region was related to Ancient Chaos. Could it be that he had already completed it? Brother Ning, if you return to the clan, can you put in a good word for me in front of the old ancestors? Lu Wen said with a smile. I haven't finished my task yet. Ning Fan smiled bitterly in his heart and gave Lu Wen an ambiguous answer. There's no hurry. No hurry. Brother Ning, take your time. Even if it takes thousands of years, I can still afford to wait. To us ancient cultivators, what's the difference between thousands of years and the blink of an eye? Why can't I afford to wait? Lu Wen said with a smile. Lu Wen had a great time drinking while Ning Fan sighed with emotion. He did not know if Lu Wen would still be so close to him if he knew the truth, however. Now that he was the descendant of Ancient Chaos, even if LV Feng knew the truth, even if the Southern Tribe knew that he was pretending to be a member of the Southern Tribe, they probably wouldn't do anything to him. After leaving Lu Fan's place, Ning Fan returned to the Heavenly Sea Star. He told the patriarchs of the Luo clan about his departure and promised that he would return after mastering the fourth form of his battle art. Luo Zhao's physical body had already been successfully possessed, and his Yuan spirit was currently being refined. After knowing that Ning Fan was going to leave, Luo Zhao also held a small banquet to entertain him. When Wang Meng heard that Ning Fan was leaving, he insisted on going with Ning Fan to serve him. However, Ning Fan tactfully refused. With Ning Fan's current strength, he didn't need Wang Meng, who was an early crossing truth cultivator, to follow him around. It was better to let him stay in the Luo clan to cultivate. Luo Xian didn't come to see Ning Fan. Her mood was very complicated. Inside the clan tomb, Luo Xian stood in front of a new grave, her beautiful eyes lost. Her brother's body was buried in that grave. In her arms, there was a piece of torn white cloth that she would take out from time to take a closer look. That white cloth was like a treasure to her. Now, she was certain that the owner of the white cloth was Ning Fan. He's actually the successor of Ancient Chaos. An existence that even the Dark Race doesn't dare to provoke. He actually won the first place in the tomb competition and became the reign immortal monarch whose name shook the eastern heaven. He helped me retrieve my brother's body, but I have no way to repay him. Ning Fan bid farewell to the Luo clan and left. Luo Xian suddenly raised her head and looked at Ning Fan's escaping light. She was stunned. Thank you. Her voice was as soft as a whisper. No one knew who she was talking to. In the Qin clan of the Wulan Star. In the elder's courtyard, a beautiful woman in a black dress was sitting cross-legged in her bedroom and cultivating. She was Chen Lingfeng, a female cultivator of the Qin clan who had followed Luo Zhao to the Lingtai Star. Her cultivation base was at the early mortal profound realm. All the experts above the crossing truth realm of the Qin clan were eliminated by LV Feng alone. Currently, the strongest expert in the Qin clan was only at the peak ghost profound realm. Following the decline of the Qin clan, Chen Lingfeng now had the qualifications to become an elder of the Qin clan. However, Chen Lingfeng couldn't feel happy at all. Recently, she kept having a premonition of impending doom, as if some kind of danger was approaching her step by step. I didn't expect that the reign immortal monarch to be so terrifying. He's actually an existence that even the secret race doesn't dare to provoke. The clan lord died because of him. Even Elder Lei Jinshi died because of him. If he knows that I'm the one who informed the clan lord and caused him to be assassinated, I wonder how he will deal with me. Fortunately, he will never know. Chen Lingfeng comforted herself. Suddenly, she raised her head and was slightly surprised. The window that was supposed to be closed had been opened without her noticing. Chen Lingfeng stood up and closed the window again. She turned and walked towards her bed. Her beautiful face immediately turned pale with fright. Under the moonlight, a white-robed young man with cold and emotionless eyes was staring at her quietly in her room. Chen Lingfeng, is it? From today onwards, you are my cauldron. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with cold light. He could ignore the cultivators who had nothing to do with him, but he would never let Chen Lingfeng go. He had already searched the souls of a few cultivators of the Chen clan. The person who caused him to be assassinated by crossing truth was Chen Lingfeng. Chapter 854. That night, 5 profound ghost cultivators mysteriously perished in the Chen clan. At the same time, the newly promoted Chen clan elder, Chen Lingfeng, went missing. This matter stirred up great waves on planet Wulan. The Chen family requested the 4 pavilions of Divine Void to investigate this matter. However, this request was ignored by the 4 pavilions of Divine Void pavilions. The Chen family and the Lei family were like flowers of the past. With the deaths of Qin Xian and Lei Jinshi, they were destined to decline. No one knew that the murderer was Ning Fan. No one knew that Chen Lingfeng had already been plucked and locked up in the profound Yin World's Repentance Palace. In the vast starry sky, Ning Fan held the star compass of the 3,000 lightning realms in his hand and flew at full speed, leaving the Eastern Sea Star region. His plan was to go to the 3,000 Thunder Realm to find a person. That person was the only disciple of Lightning Emperor Tai Su who was still alive. He had once followed Lightning Emperor and appeared in Eastern Heaven Immortal World, Thunderfall World Lord. Su Yenzong, Ning Fan murmured to himself as he sped along the way. He had no idea how far he had escaped from the Eastern Ocean Star region. Gradually, he had a feeling that he was being followed. A green light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He could immediately tell that there were dozens of old monsters who were hiding their bodies and following him from afar. The stalkers came from various forces. All of them were true immortal old monsters of Du Zhen and Shikong Realm. There were even some at the peak of Shikong Realm. Currently, Ning Fan's name as the successor of ancient chaos had spread across the entire Eastern Heaven. Perhaps no one would dare to openly deal with him. In the dark, there were many forces that harbored different intentions towards Ning Fan. Exposing his identity as the descendant of ancient chaos did not only bring him benefits, but also a lot of hostility hidden in the dark. Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. While he was flying, he performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Immediately, purple mist spread across the starry sky. Many old monsters who were following behind Ning Fan were engulfed by the purple mist and were immediately bewitched by the illusion technique. Early-stage Du Zhen and middle-stage Du Zhen cultivators lost their minds once they were bewitched by the illusion. The old monsters at the late stage of crossing Truth Realm and above were lost in the illusion technique for a moment before they recovered. That's a pretty decent illusory technique, but it's a pity that it's futile to think that you can get rid of us with this technique. Among the trackers, an old monster at the peak of Sichuan Realm snorted in disdain. With a wave of his hand, the purple mist was immediately dispersed by his palm. However, after the purple mist dispersed, Ning Fan's figure was nowhere to be seen. Ran away? The expression of the peak void abandoning old monster changed. Immediately, dozens of clones appeared from his body and performed hand seals at the same time. His soul consciousness, which was as vast as the sea, immediately spread out like a tide, almost covering an entire low-level star area. Unfortunately, he could not find any trace of Ning Fan even after spreading his spirit sense to the extreme. Strange. With this kid's speed, there's no reason for him to escape such a long distance in such a short period of time. If he's hiding here, it's impossible for him to hide from the senses of my clone. Could it be that he has 1,000-world treasure on him and he's hiding it in the treasure? A dimensional treasure is indeed precious, but if he's the descendant of ancient chaos, it's not strange for him to have one. Sure enough, he's still hiding here. This old man doesn't believe that you can hide in the space of the world treasure forever. The old monster snorted coldly and immediately flew to a nearby abandoned planet. He sat down cross-legged and meditated, but his divine sense was still locked on this star field. Just like this old monster, the other stalkers also set up camps on the abandoned planets nearby, waiting for Ning Fan to show up. Spring passed and autumn came. They had been waiting here for tens of years, but Ning Fan had yet to show up. This was a story for the future. These people did not know that the reason why Ning Fan displayed the purple mist was to block their vision. He then summoned the ghost face and left in stealth mode. The innate stealth ability of the ghost face was naturally not something that these stalkers could discover. This time, after summoning the ghost face, Ning Fan did not keep it away anymore. Instead, he walked in the Eastern Heaven immortal world with the appearance of a ghost face with silver hair. If he walks in the Eastern Heaven with his true appearance, it would be too eye-catching and he would soon attract the attention of various forces. Ning Fan did not want to be followed by hundreds of stalkers with malicious intentions wherever he goes. The 3000th Thunder World was extremely far from the Eastern Sea Star area. It would take an ordinary early True Crossing Realm cultivator at least 10 years to fly from the Eastern Sea Star area to the 3000th Thunder World. Naturally, cultivators who have comprehended the Earth shrinking technique could reach the 3000th Underworld in half a year at most. The long distance gave Ning Fan the opportunity to cultivate the Golden Earth Light. The Golden Light could reach 1 billion li. This technique consumed a lot of magic power. Fortunately, Ning Fan could replenish it at any time. In his lightning star, there were still 2 lightning strikes from the sky renouncing strike. In his lightning diagram, there were still countless lightning fragments that could be refined to replenish his magic power. However, he did not use any of them. Instead, he flew and devoured the spiritual items of the 5 elements to replenish his magic power. In the main pavilion of the Merchant Pavilion, Ning Fan took away millions of traces of spirit flames, cold chi and spiritual lightning. The grade of these spiritual items might not be high, but they were perfect for his great 5 elements physique to devour and replenish his magic power. Moreover, devouring these spiritual items of the 5 elements could not only replenish his magic power but also slowly increase the grade of his devil flame. Without the rapid consumption of the Golden Earth Light, Ning Fan would not be able to devour the spiritual items of the 5 elements so quickly. With the replenishment of his magic power, Ning Fan no longer needed to worry about the consumption of his magic power. Thus, he began to activate the Golden Earth Light recklessly and flew in the starry sky. In the beginning, the momentum of Ning Fan's golden light was astonishing. Occasionally, he would even directly crash into a certain cultivation planet, causing those cultivators along the way to panic. They just thought that an ancient monster had descended on their planet. Gradually, Ning Fan became more and more proficient in using the Golden Earth Light. He no longer lost control of it. When he deliberately slowed down his speed, the momentum of the Golden Earth Light was no longer shocking. The starry sky along the way was no longer torn apart by the golden light, creating a 10,000 zhang ravine. The sound of his traveling light was also less whistling and piercing through the air. It was almost silent. Ning Fan seemed to have turned into a ray of light, as if he no longer had a physical body. When the light traveled, it was naturally silent. If others did not see a ray of golden light flashing across the sky, they would not notice that Ning Fan had flown past them. Even though he deliberately slowed down his traveling light, he only spent a month to reach the 3000th Thunder Realm. During this 1 month, he had devoured more than 700,000 balls of spirit flames and spiritual lightning. The grade of his devil flame had improved from the mid-grade 8 to the peak grade 8. There was still a small distance left before he could break through to the 9th grade. This distance could not be achieved by devouring spiritual items. He had to achieve the breakthrough through enlightenment. The 8th grade spirit flame was a divine ability that life immortal realm cultivators often used. As for the 9th grade flame, it was also known as the true flame. It was a flame that only true immortals could control. In order to cultivate the true flame, one must at least reach the true crossing realm. However, not every true crossing realm cultivator had the ability to cultivate the true flame. In order to cultivate the true flame, I have to comprehend the word, truth, and break through to the true crossing realm. The true crossing realm is still very far away. I've arrived at the lightning region. This is the 3000 Thunder Realm. Ning Fan kept his traveling light and stood outside a star region where lightning was intertwining. It was an imperial star region named the Lightning Region. Unlike the other star regions, there were no cultivation planets in this region. Instead, there was a lightning continent floating in the sky. The entire lightning continent was divided into more than 3000 lightning realms by the power of the realm. Therefore, outsiders often called the lightning region as the 3000 Thunder Realm. The lightning realms here were divided into 10 levels, which was very similar to the division of the 10 grade sects in the Eastern Sea Star region. In a first-grade lightning realm, the strongest forces were Gold Core Realm, second-grade Nascent Soul Realm, third-grade Divine Transformation Realm, fourth-grade Void Refinement Realm, and fifth-grade Void Fragmentation Realm. A sixth-grade lightning realm usually had a Life Immortal Realm, a seventh-grade True Crossing Realm, a eighth-grade Void Shedding Realm, and a ninth-grade Thought Fragmentation Realm. Among the 3000 Thunder Realms, there was only one 10th grade Lightning Realm. That was where the strongest force in the three realms' Lightning Realm, the Extreme Lightning Palace, was located. If the Palace Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace was an immortal emperor, he or she would use the title White Emperor. The current White Emperor was a female emperor named Lan Yunxian. When Sinlua was annihilated, this female emperor was also present. Ning Fan remembered that her motive was to take back the Thunder King seal that was taken away by Sinluo. The 3000 Thunder Realm is guarded by an immortal emperor. It's not good for me to expose my identity here. Otherwise, I'll definitely be spied on by the immortal emperor. The Lightning Fall Realm is a 6th grade Thunder Realm. The Realm Lord, Su Yenzong, is said to be a late ghost profound life immortal realm cultivator who has been in charge of the Lightning Fall Realm for 400,000 years. However, according to the information that ACI gave me, this person had already been following Lightning Emperor Tai Su since 50 million years ago. If he really is a ghost profound life immortal realm cultivator, how could he have lived for such a long time? This is a little strange. Ning Fan pondered for a long time. Then, he shifted his gaze away from the 3000 Thunder Realm and looked at a high-grade cultivation planet not far away from the Lightning Fall Realm. That high-grade cultivation planet was called the Demon Slaughter Planet. The strongest force there was the Demon Ruler Sect, which was a space-rending force. The Demon Slaughter Planet was very famous in the Eastern Heaven Immortal world. It was not because of the Demon Ruler Sect but because there was a realm gate built on this planet which led directly to the battlefield between the Divine Race and the Demon Race. The Savage Battlefield. If Ning Fan intends to enter the Savage Battlefield, he would definitely have to go to the Demon Ruler Sect and open the realm gate with the battle order. Let's go to the Lightning Fall Realm and look for Su Yenzong first. Ning Fan made up his mind and immediately flew towards the outer region of the 3000 Thunder Realm. He only controlled his chi and traveling speed at the mortal profound realm. In this way, he would not attract too much attention. With the traveling speed of a mortal profound realm cultivator, it would take him at least a few months to fly to the depths of the Lightning Fall Realm. Even though the Lightning Fall Realm was located at the outer region of the 3000 Thunder Realm, he still spent nearly half a month to reach it. Lightning Fall Realm, White Thunder Sect. The Lightning Fall Realm was a grade 6 lightning realm. However, it was quite famous in the 3000 Thunder Realm. It was because 50 million years ago, there was an immortal emperor who lived in seclusion here. His name was Tai Su. The place where Lightning Emperor Tai Su lived in seclusion was long gone. However, in the Lightning Fall Realm, there was an ancient sect that had been passed down to this day. That sect was called the White Thunder Sect. It was said that it was founded by an ancient cultivator who worshipped Lightning Emperor Tai Su. Since the beginning of the White Thunder Sect's history, there had never been a true nascent soul realm cultivator in the sect. Among the old ancestors of the sect, the one with the highest cultivation base was the lord of this realm, Su Yenzong. People called him Heavenly Monarch Su. The current sect master of the White Thunder sect was a female cultivator at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The White Thunder sect rarely recruited disciples from the outside. The entire sect had less than 10,000 disciples. To a life-immortal realm force, 10,000 disciples was just too little. In the past, the huge White Thunder sect was cold and cheerless. However, in the past few months, the White Thunder sect was bustling with activity. There were many forces from the 6th grade Thunderworld that came to the White Thunder sect to make friends with the White Thunder sect. The White Thunder sect was just a grade 6 force. It was not worth the attention of the other grade 6 forces. However, no one expected that a disciple of a realm lord of a grade 7 lightning realm would fall in love with the sect master of the White Thunder sect a few months ago and wanted to take her as his concubine. The realm lord of a grade 7 lightning realm must be a cultivator from the Dujin realm. Since that person was a disciple of the Dujin realm, the White Thunder sect naturally did not dare to reject his request. In the eyes of others, it was the fortune of the White Thunder sect for that person to fall in love with the Void Fragmentation Realm's sect master. However, just like a person who drinks water, only one knows whether it is warm or cold. The sect master was not satisfied with this marriage, but there was nothing she could do. The Profound Thunder Realm is a grade 7 lightning realm. The realm lord of the Profound Thunder Realm is a dignified peak realm lord of the Dujin realm. It is said that he is only one step away from attaining the Void Renunciation Realm. Our White Thunder sect cannot afford to offend the Profound Thunder Realm. That disciple of his is lustful and unscrupulous. He is not a good match for you. We naturally know about this. However, you must marry this person. Otherwise, my White Thunder sect will probably be destroyed because of you. In the main hall of the White Thunder sect, 3 human Profound Realm old ancestors were sitting on the highest seats. One of them, an old man in brown robes, was talking to a lady below him with a deep voice. Below him, a blue-robed lady who was at the 4th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm stood. Her figure was graceful and her face was delicate and pretty. Her beautiful eyes were filled with despair. Her name was Lu Yen. She was the current sect master of the White Thunder sect. During one of her trips, she met the disciple of the Profound Thunder Realm Lord by chance and was chosen by him. Lu Yen, you can't change this no matter whether you are willing or not. You are the sect master of the White Thunder sect. When you need to sacrifice yourself for the sect, you must do it without hesitation. This is your responsibility. The old man in brown robes reprimanded her again. Lu Yan's pretty face was pale. She bit her lips with her pearly white teeth. Finally, she mustered her courage and raised her head. Her eyes were filled with sadness. I want to see my master. I want to know if he has also agreed to this marriage. As soon as they heard Lu Yan's words, the expressions of the 3 human Profound Realm old ancestors changed. They wanted to say something but hesitated. Lu Yan's master was the realm lord of the Fallen Thunder Realm. Xianzong, is my master unwilling to see me? Has he also agreed to sacrifice me to protect the White Thunder sect? Lu Yen laughed at herself. No, it's not that the realm lord doesn't want to see you. It's just that one of the human Profound Realm old ancestors was about to tell Lu Yen something, but his words were interrupted by the old man in brown robes. Enough. She's just a Void Fragmentation Realm junior. Why do you need to explain to her? This matter has been decided. Who is it? The old man in brown robes suddenly stood up and looked towards the outside of the main hall with a solemn expression. Outside the main hall, a white-robed young man slowly walked into the main hall. He had a head full of silver hair and a ferocious silver ghost mask. The chi that was emitting from his body was at the early human Profound Realm. The 3 human Profound Realm old ancestors were shocked when they saw that this person was able to enter the main hall of the White Thunder sect without making a sound. The sect protection grand formation of the White Thunder sect was a profound ghost grand formation. No one in the human Profound Realm could enter the main hall of the White Thunder sect without triggering the grand formation. However, this person was able to do it. Lu Yen was slightly stunned. She turned her head and saw a silver-haired young man with cold eyes walking towards her step by step. The chi of this silver-haired young man was very cold. It was so cold that it made one's hair stand on end. However, the strange thing was that Lu Yen didn't feel afraid when she saw this person. Instead, she felt an inexplicable closeness to him. That closeness was indescribable. In the past, she would only have such a feeling when she was facing her master. She didn't expect that she would also feel this closeness when she was facing this unfamiliar human profound realm. Senior, who are you? Why have you come to my White Thunder sect? Among the 3 human profound realm old ancestors, the brown-robed old man took a step forward. His eyes were cold and he asked in a deep voice. He was the one with the highest cultivation base among the 3 of them. He was at the mid-human profound realm. As he took a step forward, the boundless aura force of the mid-human profound realm immediately pressed down on the newcomer. You don't need to know who I am. I'm here to look for someone. Ning Fan raised his hand and made a grabbing gesture. He didn't use any ability, but the aura force of the brown-robed old man immediately collapsed. He coughed out blood and was forced to retreat. Hiss! The 3 human profound realm old ancestors, including the brown-robed old man, felt their blood run cold. They were convinced that Ning Fan was definitely not an early human profound realm expert. He was definitely hiding his cultivation base. He was at least at the peak human profound realm. If he didn't have a peak human profound realm cultivation base, how could he break the aura force of the brown-robed old man so easily? May I know who you're looking for? The way the 3 human profound realm experts looked at Ning Fan became fearful and their tone became much more respectful. In the cultivation world, strength was everything. Ning Fan's strength was obviously much higher than theirs. How would they dare to be rude to him? I'm looking for Su Yenzong. As soon as Ning Fan's voice fell, even Lu Yen was slightly shocked. He actually came to look for her master. The expressions of the 3 human profound realm old ancestors suddenly became strange. The brown-robed old man recalled Su Yenzong's reminder. After a slight hesitation, he cupped his fists and asked, "Are you from the rain world of the lower world?" Boom! An unimaginably terrifying aura force immediately spread out from Ning Fan's body and pressed down on the brown-robed old man. Who told you this? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with coldness. The fact that he was a cultivator of the rain world was rarely known in the Eastern Heaven. But a mere mid-human profound realm expert in front of him could actually expose it. The others couldn't feel Ning Fan's aura force, but the brown-robed old man who was at the center of the aura force shivered from the bottom of his heart. He looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. He couldn't believe that the young man in front of him could emit such a terrifying aura force. If he wasn't human profound realm, he was at least ghost profound realm or even higher. He couldn't see through this person's true cultivation base. But judging from this person's attitude, he really came from the rain world. Fellow Taoist, please calm down. It was the realm lord who told me that someone from the rain world would come to find him. The brown-robed old man revealed a panicked expression and looked at Ning Fan in fear. He explained using telepathy, fearing that Ning Fan would misunderstand him if he explained too slowly. The 2 human profound realm old ancestors could not feel Ning Fan's aura force. Naturally, they didn't know how terrifying Ning Fan was. They didn't understand why the brown-robed old man would be so afraid of Ning Fan. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes were slightly shocked. Just at the moment when Ning Fan released his aura force, she actually felt a strange yet familiar lightning power from Ning Fan's body, causing some strange ancient scenes to appear in her mind. In those scenes, she wasn't a person but a magical treasure spirit. Did Su Yenzong tell you about it? Ning Fan's eyes slightly narrowed and retracted his aura force. The brown-robed old man immediately relaxed his body and smiled apologetically. It was the realm lord who told me about it. He said that someone from the rain world would come and want to see him. He is approaching the returning ruins and he can't meet anyone. But if someone from the rain world comes, he can meet them. Is that so? Ning Fan frowned. This unknown Su Yenzong seems to have some remarkable abilities. He actually predicted that I would come to find him. Moreover, the brown-robed old man also mentioned another matter. Su Yenzong was approaching the returning ruins. Fellow Taoist, Please follow me to the back of the mountain to meet the realm lord. The brown-robed old man smiled apologetically. All right. Lead the way. Under the guidance of the 3 human profound realm experts, Ning Fan left the main hall and walked towards the back of the mountain. However, just as they left the main hall, Ning Fan suddenly turned his head and looked at Lu Yen. His eyes were filled with confusion. Why is there a trace of Lightning Emperor Tai Su's aura on this girl? Chapter 855. White Thunder Sect, Forbidden Area Behind the Mountain. Within the Forbidden Ground, there was a stone cave dwelling. This cave dwelling was the place where the Thunderfall Realm Lord entered closed-door seclusion. Outside the cave, more than 20 cultivators of the Pure Thunder Sect were guarding this place. The disciples guarding this place were all above the semi-god realm. Meanwhile, the 3 Void Refinement Stage Guard commanders were sitting in a pavilion at the side, drinking wine with green plums and discussing current affairs. Fellow Taoists, have you heard? The 10th grade Extreme Thunder Realm, as well as the 7 9th grade Thunder Realms in the vicinity of the Extreme Thunder Realm have all entered a state of emergency. It's said that the 8 great Thunder Realms have been thrown into chaos. No one knows what exactly happened to make those powerful cultivators so flustered. This old man has also heard about this matter. It is said that something has happened to the Supreme Thunder Palace and they are currently looking for someone. As for who exactly they are looking for, even they themselves don't know. How ridiculous! Those powerful cultivators must have encountered some big trouble, but what does that have to do with us? Void Refinement Realm cultivators like us only need to eat, drink, and live a carefree life. We shouldn't meddle in other people's business. That's right, drink. The days of guarding the stone gate are really leisurely. Just as the 3 of them were leisurely drinking wine, all of a sudden, a cold, berating voice entered their ears. It carried a vast pressure, directly shattering their wine cups and causing them to vomit blood and be heavily injured. I asked you to guard the Realm Lord's pass, and this is how you guard. As soon as they heard this voice, the 3 mountain guards turned pale with fright. Not bothering to wipe the blood off their faces, they ran out of the pavilion in panic. When they saw who it was, they cursed inwardly and immediately clasped their hands in salute. Guardian Commanders Zhou Wen, Lu Bing, and Yu Chong greet the Patriarch of Law Enforcement. There were a total of 4 people. Other than the 3 human Profound Realm Old Ancestors, there was also a silver-haired cultivator who wore a ghost mask. As for the person who berated the 3 of them, it was the brown-robed man named Xian. This person was the law enforcement ancestor of the White Thunder Sect. He had always been strict with his subordinates and there was no one in the White Thunder Sect who didn't fear him. When the other disciples saw that their leader was being punished, they were afraid that the law enforcement ancestor would punish them as well. Humph! Consider yourselves lucky that I have no time to punish you today. Forget it, you guys can leave for now. The brown-robed old man coldly snorted and dismissed the disciples. The disciples who were in charge of guarding the mountain hurriedly retreated as if they were granted amnesty. However, before they left, they more or less glanced at Ning Fan curiously. The brown-robed old man had a cold and emotionless face to everyone, but in front of Ning Fan, his face was full of smiles. They were very curious about who exactly was Ning Fan that made the old ancestor treat him with such respect. Ning Fan's eyes flickered slightly. He had heard the conversation between the 3 commanders just now. Something big seemed to have happened in the 3000 Thunder Realm, causing all the realms to be on lockdown. However, all of this seemed to have nothing to do with him. Ancestor Su is in seclusion inside the stone chamber. Fellow Taoist, you can enter on your own. We will wait outside. After the brown-robed old man finished speaking, he took out a token and struck it at the stone wall. Immediately, the stone door of the stone chamber rumbled open, revealing a pitch-black passageway. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. In the end, he stepped into the stone door alone. The moment he entered the stone chamber, the stone door automatically closed. The 2 copper lamps on the stone walls suddenly lit up. The dim and swaying light left mottled shadows on the walkway. Little friend, this old man has been waiting for you for a long time. You have finally come. Suddenly, a hoarse voice of an old man was heard from the depths of the stone chamber, carrying a hint of gratification. Ning Fan's eyes slightly narrowed. The one who spoke was a late ghost profound cultivator. His chi was filled with dense death chi, indicating that he was not far from death. This person was the only remaining disciple of Lightning Emperor Tai Su Yenzong. If the information of the little demoness was right, this person should have lived for more than 50 million years. Is his cultivation base really only at the ghost profound realm? Ning Fan walked towards the depths of the stone chamber with vigilance in his heart. At the end of the stone chamber was a stone chamber. The light in the chamber was dim. A skinny old man who was as thin as a match was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat. The old man's eye sockets were deeply sunken. His eyes were turbid, detached and listless. His body was emitting dense death chi. It was hard to imagine that he was a living person. The moment Ning Fan saw the old man, the lightning star on his glabella immediately felt boiling hot, as if it had sensed something from the old man. In an instant, Ning Fan understood how this late ghost profound old man could live for more than 50 million years. This person was indeed a late ghost profound cultivator, but he wasn't a living person, so he hadn't died yet. So he's a puppet? Ning Fan muttered to himself. This thin and small old man was Su Yenzong. He was a puppet personally created by Lightning Emperor Tai Su. The strength of this puppet might not be strong, but because it was made by an immortal emperor, its body was concealed by the lightning power left by Lightning Emperor Tai Su. Even those with profound cultivation base like Space Renhuang and Broken Thought might not be able to see through this person's identity. The reason why Ning Fan could see through this person's identity was because of the Tai Su lightning star on his glabella. It allowed him to see through the concealment of the lightning power in the old man's body. Little friend is indeed the owner of the lightning star. You've actually seen through this old man's identity. As you can see, this old man is indeed a puppet personally made by Lightning Emperor. Puppets aren't living beings. Naturally, they won't have a limit on their lifespan and won't be troubled by the heavenly tribulation. However, nothing in this world can escape the erosion of time. This old man has tried his best to delay the decay of this puppet, but this puppet still has no choice but to decay. This old man's lifespan has reached its limit. Fortunately, little friend is still here. This old man knows that little friend has a lot of questions in your heart. I'll answer them one by one. The reason why this old man knows that little friend is from Rain World is because someone told me that once the Tao of Lightning Emperor is extinguished, little friend will come. Little friend, you don't have to ask me who that person is. It's useless even if you ask. I also don't know the identity of that person. I only know that his origin is very mysterious and his cultivation base is extremely terrifying. He's an old monster that even Lightning Emperor regards as his senior. Su Yenzong let out a few dry coughs. The chi of death in his eyes was getting heavier and heavier. Speaking these few words seemed to be exhausting his strength. He was thinking about the identity of the mysterious expert that Su Yenzong mentioned. There was once a mysterious expert who told Su Yenzong that there would be a cultivator from Rain World who would come to find him after Lightning Emperor Tai Su's Tao was extinguished. That mysterious expert was someone that even Lightning Emperor Tai Su regarded as his senior. Who could that person be? Was there such a terrifying figure in the four heavens? Even if that person was a quasi-saint, it didn't seem to be enough for Lightning Emperor Tai Su to regard him as his senior. 200 years ago, Lightning Emperor's Tao was extinguished, causing the Tao of lightning of heaven and earth to lose its ruler. At that time, countless old monsters in the four heavens traveled thousands of miles to 3000 Thunder World in search of the Tao fruit of sovereign, but to no avail. Of course, they couldn't find it because the Tao of Lightning Emperor was extinguished and didn't form the Tao fruit of sovereign. However, ever since then, this old man knew that little friend would definitely come. This old man purposely spread some information in the eastern heaven, thinking that with little friend's ability, you would naturally have a way to obtain the information and come to find this old man. This old man knows the purpose of little friend's visit. There's an astrolabe hidden in this old man's puppet. That astrolabe shows the location of true lightning world. However, that astrolabe is a little special. Before Lightning Emperor placed it in this old man's puppet, the tool spirit had already been extracted. An ordinary astrolabe naturally doesn't need a tool spirit, but the astrolabe of true lightning world can only be controlled by a tool spirit, because the location of true lightning world is too special. It's not in an ordinary starry sky. The tool spirit, disciple, that tool spirit used to be my disciple. Recently, she seemed to have encountered some trouble. I hope that little friend can treat her well. If you can spare her, try not to kill her. If you can take care of her a little, I won't have any regrets even if I die. Little friend, I hope that you can complete the task that Lightning Emperor entrusted to you, save true lightning world, and break the seal of true lightning world. Su Yenzong felt like he had completed the most important task in his life. He had waited for 50 million years and Ning Fan had finally arrived. Then he told Ning Fan everything. His eyes were filled with gratification. He could finally die peacefully and follow his old master, Lightning Emperor Tai Su. He had been living in loneliness and exhaustion for the past 50 million years. His eyes gradually turned dim. The death chi that he had been suppressing was finally no longer suppressed. He could finally be free. The death chi spread. The body of the puppet that he made with spiritual would immediately decay bit by bit. Eventually, it turned into ashes on the ground. Among the ashes, an ancient star compass that was made of red jade fell out. Ning Fan looked at everything in silence. He was powerless to stop it. Even a puppet with ghost profound realm cultivation base would find it hard to live for 50 million years. This puppet had already reached its limit after enduring for so long. To it, continuing to exist was a kind of torture. His originally cautious heart had now turned into a sense of melancholy, turning into a bit of a sigh. After waiting for 50 million years, this puppet could be considered as having completed its task loyally. Perhaps it could die without any regrets. Senior, don't worry. I will definitely find a way to break the seal of true lightning world in my lifetime. Ning Fan cupped his fists and bowed to the ashes on the ground. Then he took out the red jade star compass from the pile of ashes. After pondering for a while, he finally built a grave in the stone chamber and buried Su Yenzong's ashes in it. There were only 4 words on the tombstone: Death of the Lord. After doing all this, Ning Fan finally had the leisure to carefully examine the red jade star compass. This red jade star compass was completely different from an ordinary star compass. Not only was it different in appearance, but it was also different in essence. Ning Fan could not tell what the difference was with just a few words. This red jade star compass gave Ning Fan a strange feeling. It was as if the starry sky indicated by this red jade star compass was another starry sky. It was in the eastern heaven, but at the same time, it was not in the eastern heaven. There's actually a lightning power seal on this star compass. Does it need to be unsealed before it can be used? Ning Fan pondered for a moment. He did not walk out of the stone chamber but directly unsealed the lightning power seal on the star compass. 10 days later, Ning Fan finally finished unsealing the star compass. He kept the red jade star compass and left the stone chamber. Outside the stone chamber, there were still 3 human profound realm old ancestors waiting for him. However, at this moment, all of them had more or less some injuries on their bodies. The realm lord still passed away in the end. The moment the stone chamber was opened, the 3 of them immediately felt the dense death chi inside. Their expressions turned gloomy and they sighed softly. The 3 of them had long known that Su Yenzong was approaching the returning void. All along, they had been hanging by a breath, waiting for Ning Fan's appearance. Now that they knew that Su Yenzong was already dead, they were not too surprised. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was slightly surprised when he found out that the 3 of them were actually injured. However, he did not ask about the reason for their injuries. Instead, he asked about other things. How many disciples does Realm Lord Su have? Ning Fan's question was a little abrupt, but he had no choice but to ask. The red jade star compass was very special. It needed a tool spirit to indicate the location of the true lightning world. According to Su Yenzong, His disciple was the tool spirit of the red jade star compass? Ning Fan naturally had to obtain this tool spirit. After hearing Ning Fan's question, the three human profound realm old ancestors' expressions turned unnatural. The brown-robed old man hesitated for a long time and said with a slightly unnatural expression, "There is only one disciple of the Realm Lord. She is the current sect master of our White Lightning sect. Lu Yen, only one? Then it should be her. Ask Lu Yen to come and see me." Ning Fan's mind involuntarily recalled the lady he saw in the main hall of the White Lightning sect. That lady gave Ning Fan a strange feeling. There was actually a trace of Lightning Emperor Tai Su's qi in her body. Now that he thought about it, that lady should be Lu Yen, the tool spirit of the red jade star compass. The brown-robed old man immediately showed a troubled expression. Another human profound realm old ancestor asked with a bitter smile, "I wonder why fellow Taoist is looking for Lu Yen. Could it be that you have taken a fancy to this lady?" "No. I'm looking for her for another important matter." It's good that you didn't take a fancy to this lady." That human profound realm old ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. The brown-robed old man also regained his senses and said to Ning Fan with a bitter smile, "I'm afraid it will be a little difficult for fellow Taoists to see Lu Yen." A few days ago, the profound Thunder Realm Lord had already sent his men to forcefully take her to the profound Thunder Realm. We wanted to stop him, but we were too weak and suffered some injuries instead. Now, I'm afraid this lady is about to reach the profound Thunder Realm. What do you mean?" Ning Fan frowned. Why would his tool spirit be taken away by someone else? Lu Yan's life is really tough. Who asked her to be taken by the disciple of the profound Thunder Realm Lord, Ujizi? I'm afraid she's like a sheep entering a wolf's den. She won't be able to escape death. It's very difficult for those women who have been plucked by Ujizi to live past the second day. Forget it. There's no hope for Lu Yen to return. It's time for us to appoint a new sect master. The few human profound realm old ancestors sighed with emotion. They did not notice that Ning Fan's expression had already darkened. He did not care how indifferent the few human profound realm old ancestors of the White Thunder sect were to Lu Yan's life and death. However, the moment he took over the Red Jade Astrolabe, Lu Yen had already become the tool spirit of his magic treasure. She was the guarantee for him to go to the true Thunder World. Not just anyone had the right to touch his artifact spirit. The profound Thunder World. For the sake of that Lu Yen, I'll make a trip there. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. With a sway of his body, he immediately turned into a rainbow and left the White Thunder sect. The direction he was heading towards was the profound Thunder World. The eyes of the three human profound realm old ancestors immediately widened. Could it be that Ning Fan was going to the profound Thunder World to snatch Lu Yen? This man is at most a life-immortal realm expert. If he offends the profound Thunder Realm Lord, he will certainly die. It's really unwise to offend the profound Thunder World for a mere Lu Yen. I can only hope that he won't anger the profound Thunder World and vent his anger on us. The three of them thought without any backbone. In the Thunderfall world, 1,000 li away from the White Thunder sect. In a certain barren mountain, a barefooted little girl with a head full of silver hair and dressed in white robes was walking towards the White Thunder sect. She was about 6 or 7 years old. She was plucking wildflowers, weaving flower garlands, and humming a sweet song as she walked towards the White Thunder sect. She did not walk fast, and there was no trace of qi of her cultivation base on her body. However, some of the ferocious beasts in the barren mountain were fearful of her. It was this innocent and naive little girl who had once defeated all the ferocious beasts in the mountain with a smile. Her strength was extremely terrifying. Little Qianqian is too fierce. Little Yuyu is too long-winded. Little Qingqing is too old-fashioned. Little Ruru is too pretentious. It's better for me to come out alone to have some fun. And what is this Thunder World called again? Thunderfall World. It seems to be this name. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat it. What's that smell? The little girl suddenly raised her head and looked at the direction where Ning Fan had gone. Her saliva flowed out from her mouth and her big eyes flashed with faint lightning. Quietly follow him. The little girl tapped the ground with her toes, and her body immediately turned into a bolt of lightning, instantly disappearing from where she stood. It was obvious that there was no aura of cultivation, but its speed was comparable to the early stage of shedding void. No one knew anything about this. Grade 7 Thunder World, Profound Thunder World, Heavenly Moon Sect. Inside the Heavenly Moon Sect, red silk and colorful brocade were hung everywhere, and the sound of bells, cauldrons, and harps could be heard endlessly. Today was a joyous day for the Heavenly Moon Sect. Ujizi, the sect master of the Heavenly Moon Sect, was going to marry his 252nd concubine today. For ordinary cultivators, marrying a few concubines was a trivial matter that was not worth mentioning in the cultivation world. There was no need to hold a grand banquet. However, Ujizi was different. He was a person who loved extravagance. Even if he was marrying a concubine, he would make it known to the world and invite fellow Taoists from all over the world to congratulate him. He was the personal disciple of the Xianlei Realm Lord. Others naturally had to give him face. Also, every time someone came to congratulate him, the gifts couldn't be too meager. Streaks of light flew over. They were all guests who had come to congratulate him. In the main hall of the Heavenly Moon Sect, Ujizi was wearing a red wedding robe. His face was glowing as he received the guests who came to congratulate him. Ujizi was an early spirit profound realm cultivator. Those who were qualified to be invited by him had to be at least a life immortal. Almost all the reputable sect masters in the profound thunder world had been invited by Ujizi. In the main hall, most of the old monsters were conceited. They only came because of Ujizi's identity. None of them had the intention to curry favor with Ujizi. However, there were also some cultivators who were good at currying favor with Ujizi. Once they had the chance, they would immediately put on a smiling face and curry favor with Ujizi. Brother Yu, I have nothing to congratulate you on today's joyous occasion. Here is a small token of my appreciation. I hope Brother Yu will accept it. Congratulations, I heard that Brother Yu's new concubine is the sect master of a grade 6 Thunder World. TSK, Brother Yu's luck with women is not shallow. I admire you. Speaking of which, why hasn't Brother Yu's concubine appeared yet? Let me see what kind of beauty she is to be able to make Brother Yu fall in love with her. Ujizi couldn't help but blush when he heard the compliments. He was extremely proud of himself. When he thought that he would be able to taste Lu Yan's wonderful taste after today, a certain part of Ujizi's body immediately became hot. The only regret was that the cultivators who went to kidnap Lu Yan were a little slow and had not returned yet. However, there was no hurry. After calculating the time, those people would bring Lu Yan back in a little while. Rumble! Rumble! Suddenly, a deafening sound of thunder came from outside the Heavenly Moon Sect. When he heard the sound of thunder, Ujizi immediately clapped his hands and laughed. He couldn't be more familiar with the sound of thunder. It was the sound of the Thunder Chariot. The Thunder Chariot was a flying magical treasure unique to the 3000 Thunder World. It was extremely fast and only some cultivators with high status were qualified to own it. Relying on the fact that his master was the lord of the profound Thunder World, Ujizi obtained a low-grade Thunder Chariot. In order to bring Lu Yan back as soon as possible, Ujizi deliberately gave the Thunder Chariot to a few of his subordinates. At this moment, the sky outside the Heavenly Moon Sect was gloomy. Dark clouds covered the sky and muffled thunder could be heard from time to time. In the midst of the lightning, 4 late ghost profound old monsters were riding a thunder chariot that was dazzling with lightning, speeding towards the Heavenly Moon Sect. In the thunder chariot, there was a woman with despair in her eyes. She was Lu Yan. At this moment, her pretty face was pale and she was wearing a bright red wedding dress. That was the wedding dress that the 3 old ancestors of the White Thunder Sect had prepared for her. If Master knew that I was kidnapped by a villain, he would definitely not sit idly by. Even if he knew that the other party was a 7th grade force, he would not be afraid. However, Ujizi sent people to kidnap me this time, but Master did not step out of the stone chamber at all. He did not care about what happened to me. There is only one reason for this. Master must be so weak that he cannot step out of the stone chamber anymore. Master is the only person in this world who cares about me. Other than Master, no one in the White Thunder sect cares about my life or death. If Master can't save me, then no one in this world will save me. No one will care about me anymore. Boom! The Thunder Chariot landed heavily outside the main hall of the Heavenly Moon sect, causing countless gravel to fly up. The 4 late ghost profound old monsters got off the Thunder Chariot and opened the door to let Lu Yen out. Their cold eyes were locked on Lu Yen. If Lu Yen had the thought of escaping, they would certainly stop her. How could a mere 4th heavenly layer void fragmentation girl escape from their palms? Go in. The sect master is waiting for you. If you dare to resist and anger the sect master, the White Thunder sect will certainly be annihilated. If you dare to commit suicide, your master will certainly die with you. The 4 old monsters said in a deep voice. Lu Yen clenched her fists unwillingly. She naturally did not know that her master was already dead. If she was alone, she would rather commit suicide than marry Ujizi. However, these 4 old monsters threatened her that if she dared to resist and commit suicide, the White Thunder sect and her master would bear the wrath of the profound Thunder World for her. She was unwilling, but she did not dare to disobey. She might never be able to escape from the evil clutches of Ujizi for the rest of her life after stepping into the main hall. If she was lucky, she could still survive after being toyed with. If she was unlucky, she might be toyed to death or be rewarded to a servant by Ujizi. There's no way to escape. I can only accept my fate. Lu Yen closed her eyes. 2 streams of tears rolled down her cheeks as she walked into the main hall step by step. Her appearance was delicate and pretty. Her figure was like a willow branch swaying in the wind. The most attractive thing about her was her seemingly delicate body and her eyes that were obviously weak but had a hint of stubbornness. As soon as she entered the main hall, the eyes of many old monsters in the hall immediately lit up. Ujizi's eyes were even more scorching, as if they were ignited with flames. If it wasn't because of the inappropriate occasion, he really wished that he could strip Lu Yen naked and eat her up. Suppressing the fire of lust in his heart, Ujizi licked his lips and gave a meaningful glance to the master of ceremonies beside him. The old man understood his meaning. He immediately cleared his throat and cupped his fists towards the old monsters in the main hall. Today is a joyous day for the sect master of Heavenly Moon sect. All of you have come from thousands of miles away to congratulate him. On behalf of my sect master, this old man would like to propose a toast to all of you. This old man was one of the 4 great protectors of the profound Thunder Realm Lord. He was an intermediate crossing Truth Realm cultivator who was sent by the profound Thunder Realm Lord to protect Ujizi. The old man raised his wine cup. Naturally, the old monsters present didn't dare to be negligent. They all raised their wine cups in front of them and gestured from afar. Lu Yen smiled bitterly. The joy of others was great, but for her, it was great sorrow and misfortune. The maidservant beside her handed her a cup of wine. With a quick glance, she could tell that there was something in the wine. She didn't refuse or resist. She just closed her eyes and drank the wine in one gulp. As soon as the wine entered her stomach, a gush of hot air immediately rushed out of her lower abdomen and ran rampant in her delicate body. Her pale face immediately turned abnormally red and her delicate body began to go limp. Sure enough, the wine was laced with that kind of medicine. Lu Yen closed her eyes bitterly. The old monsters beside her also filled their cups with wine. The old man nodded with satisfaction. He put down the wine cup and was about to say something. Suddenly, the entire mountain peak where Heavenly Moon sect was located shook violently. At this moment, the sect protecting grand formation of Heavenly Moon sect was shattered by a palm strike. Outside the main hall, a white-robed young man with a ghost face and silver hair walked in step by step with a cold gaze. The moment she saw this white-robed young man, Lu Yan's heart that was originally filled with despair was suddenly filled with some hope. The moment she heard the young man's words, she was sure that this person was here to save her. Tears of grievance immediately flowed out. I'm sorry, she is my artifact spirit. I want to take her away. Chapter 856. Silence. The entire main hall of Heavenly Moon Sect was dead silent. The guests were startled at first, then revealed a sarcastic expression as they looked at Ning Fan. No one expected that such a ridiculous scene would happen in the wedding banquet of Heavenly Moon Sect. An early human profound cultivator actually dared to say that Ujizi's concubine was his tool spirit and wanted to take her away. He was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Hey, interesting. A mere early human profound cultivator dared to provoke Heavenly Moon Sect. There will be a good show to watch today. I wonder what kind of miserable ending this person will have. Daring to snatch Ujizi's concubine, this person's courage is commendable. But, what's the use of courage in front of absolute strength? It's all in vain. This person's arrogant words are no different from slapping Heavenly Moon Sect's face. Ujizi will never let this person go. Voices of discussion rose in the surroundings. Ujizi's smile froze on his face and turned gloomy. Who are you? You dare to break into Heavenly Moon Sect and snatch my concubine. Although Ujizi was angry, he suppressed his anger and didn't act rashly. He wanted to know the identity of the intruder first. He relied on his master's strength to act arrogantly, but he also understood that there were too many people in this world who had the qualifications to be arrogant and had a stronger background than him. Ning Fan didn't reveal a strong cultivation base, but his cold eyes gave Ujizi a feeling that he couldn't be underestimated. Perhaps this person was the descendant of an 8th-grade Thunder World Lord. He must have something to rely on since he dared to break into Heavenly Moon Sect. You don't have the qualifications to know who I am. You come with me. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across Ujizi. The second half of his words were directed at Lu Yen. Lu Yen had an indescribable closeness to Ning Fan in her heart. This closeness originated from her identity as a tool spirit. She naturally wouldn't resist Ning Fan's words too much. She wiped away the tears of grievance and walked towards Ning Fan step by step. When she stood behind Ning Fan, she suddenly realized that she seemed to have blindly followed Ning Fan's words. However, she didn't know why she was willing to go with him. It was like a magical treasure that couldn't abandon its master. Ujizi's expression became even more gloomy. Lu Yen was his concubine, yet she dared to leave with another man in public. He doesn't dare to reveal his identity. I'm afraid this person doesn't have an identity that I'm afraid of, that's why he said that on purpose. Deliberately mystifying things. How dare you provoke me without any background? Ujizi sneered in his heart. He was certain that Ning Fan did not have any backing, which made him even more confident. His eyes flashed with ferocious light. A human profound realm cultivator without any background dared to cause trouble at his Heavenly Moon Sect. He must pay the price in blood. 4 demon guards, kill this man. As for that bitch, I'll kill her too. Following Ujizi's order, 4 black shadows flashed out from the main hall and surrounded Ning Fan and Lu Yen. These 4 people were the 4 late ghost profound experts who were responsible for rescuing Lu Yen. Once they received the sect master's order, the 4 of them immediately attacked Ning Fan's without hesitation. Their palms shot out black lightning. With Ning Fan as the center, a black lightning barrier immediately appeared within a radius of 10 zhang, trapping him within. 4 Devil Thunder World. Many old monsters in the main hall were shocked when they saw this technique. Ujizi's eyes flashed with a trace of complacency. This 4 Devil Thunder World was a combined lightning technique created by his master. When used by 4 late Ghost Profound experts, it could even kill a peak Ghost Profound expert. Not good. Lu Yan's face turned pale. Being trapped in the 4 Devil Lightning World, she immediately felt that death was approaching. Subconsciously, she wanted to take out the Ghost Profound Jade Slip from her storage pouch to protect herself. However, Ning Fan held her wrist. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Ning Fan's voice was very calm. It was just a casual sentence, but it had the power to convince others. It calmed the panic in Lu Yan's heart and calmed her beautiful eyes. As long as he was here, Nothing would happen even if the sky collapsed. Even if all the experts of the profound thunderworld came to hunt them down, nothing would happen. Lu Yen didn't know Ning Fan's appearance, name, or real cultivation base. However, the lightning qi in Ning Fan's body made her feel incomparably relieved. Boom! As the 4 devil guards made hand seals, heaven-shaking and earth-shattering black lightning exploded in the barrier. Even a peak ghost profound expert wouldn't be able to escape death under the lightning strike. Although Ning Fan was also a peak ghost profound expert, his strength was not limited to the ghost profound realm. His eyes began to shine with a cold light. He originally wanted to take Lu Yen away, but since Heavenly Moon Sect dared to kill him, they couldn't blame him for retaliating. Ning Fan didn't use any divine ability. He just raised his palm and casually grabbed with his 5 fingers. The force of this grab was precisely on the vein of the Tao law of lightning. An unimaginable destructive force immediately crashed in all directions. The 4 devil thunder world, which was powerful enough to kill a peak ghost profound expert, immediately collapsed under Ning Fan's grab. The eyes of all the old monsters in the main hall were filled with horror. The 4 devil thunder world was broken. Bang! As the barrier collapsed, the 4 devil guards immediately spurted out blood and retreated. Before they could regain their footing, their faces were filled with extreme fear. Ning Fan suddenly raised his finger and pointed. 4 bone-chilling chilly winds immediately appeared in the main hall. They rolled up 4 black dragon shadows and rushed towards the 4 of them. This technique was the wind-calling technique that Ning Fan had comprehended from the immortal sealing monument. Ning Fan didn't use the divine ability that made him famous during the battle in the tomb because he didn't want to expose his identity. Under the 4 wind dragons, the 4 late ghost profound devil guards didn't even have the time to scream. Their bodies were blown by the chilly winds and immediately decayed into white bones. Only the 4 primordial spirits of the devils survived. But as Ning Fan bent his palm, the primordial spirits of the 4 devil guards and their storage pouches were all taken away by Ning Fan. Their primordial spirits were naturally erased and sealed. They would be refined using a secret technique in the future to perform the spirit blasting technique. Although there weren't many things in the storage pouches, Ning Fan wouldn't let them go. The bone-chilling chilly winds brushed past the cheeks of countless old monsters, causing them to feel a chill down their spines. Yujizi looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. He couldn't believe that Ning Fan wasn't an early human profound expert, but an existence whose strength was comparable to Duzhen. Cultivators of Duzhen were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns in the 7th grade thunder world. Could this man be an old monster of Duzhen? Die! Ning Fan's cold eyes swept towards Yujizi. He lifted his finger and pointed. 4 wind dragons immediately rolled towards Yujizi with killing intent. Under the heavy chilly winds, Yujizi felt that he would die for the first time in his life. However, before the chilly winds could reach him, the intermediate Duzhen old man who was sent by the profound Thunder Realm Lord to protect Yujizi had already stepped forward and stood in front of him. "Young Lord, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you." The old man's eyes were filled with arrogance. He was an intermediate Duzhen expert. He was one of the 4 guardians of the profound Thunder Realm Lord. His name was Feng Lei. He was already a peak expert in the profound Thunder Realm. Although Ning Fan's call wind technique was powerful, he was confident that he could block it. He raised his hand and a ray of lightning flew out from his sleeve, blocking in front of him. "Wind Thunder Banner, withdraw," Feng Lei said coldly. The lightning was the Tao weapon of Feng Lei. It was called the Wind Thunder Banner. It had a great restraining effect on wind and lightning. Although the call wind technique was powerful, it was restrained by the Wind Thunder Banner. Why should Feng Lei be afraid? The banner flashed and the 4 black wind dragons were immediately sucked into it. Feng Lei harumphed coldly, as if he disdained the call wind technique. But in the next moment, his eyes were filled with astonishment. After absorbing the call wind technique, the spiritual light of the Wind Thunder Banner in front of him dimmed and countless cracks appeared on it. In the next moment, a big hole suddenly appeared on the Wind Thunder Banner. 4 black wind dragons roared and rushed out, pressing towards him and Ujizi. Ujizi's face was filled with horror. He was powerless to resist the attack. With a wail, his physical body was annihilated, leaving only a white skeleton. His primordial spirit was swept back by the cold wind and was killed by Ningfan. His storage pouch was taken away. Feng Lei was much luckier. He wasn't injured by the call wind technique. If he was hit by the black wind dragons, he would at least be severely injured. In such a critical moment, Feng Lei displayed an extremely sinister secret technique of the Devil Dao, lightning substitution technique. An old monster who was watching the battle from the side didn't have time to react and directly swapped his position with Feng Lei. Immediately, that old monster replaced Feng Lei and died in the black wind. As for Feng Lei, his body was drenched in cold sweat. That was close. If he was half a step slower in using the lightning substitution technique, he would have died under the call wind technique. However, the act of Feng Lei grabbing a substitute immediately caused panic among the old monsters in the main hall. Countless old monsters' expression changed drastically. They fled out of the main hall in panic, fearing that Feng Lei would grab them as substitutes during Ningfan's next attack. What shocked them the most was that Ningfan's strength was so terrifying that even Feng Lei, who was at the intermediate crossing truth realm, was almost severely injured by the call wind technique. What kind of ability is this Yin wind technique? Its power is so terrifying. I have never heard of any force in the eastern heaven that has such a divine ability. What's the background of that ghost-masked cultivator? Could he be a ghost-masked expert from the Slaughter Palace? No. I have never heard of anyone in the Slaughter Palace who would wear a silver ghost-masked cultivator. The energy of the 4 wind dragons was exhausted and they gradually disappeared. Ningfan's eyes swept across Feng Lei indifferently. The lightning substitution technique that he displayed had aroused Ningfan's interest. Feng Lei looked at Ningfan in despair. He couldn't figure out Ningfan's strength, but he could tell that Ningfan was stronger than him. If the battle continues, he might die in Ningfan's hands even if he had the secret technique of the lightning substitution technique. Damn it! If the other 3 protectors were here and cast the 4 Devil Thunderworld technique with this old man, even if this person is a late-stage true crossing realm expert, this old man has the confidence to kill him. I'm the only one here. Am I going to die here today? Just when Feng Lei was in despair, a thunderous roar suddenly resounded outside the heavenly moon sect. Dark clouds covered the sky and the lightning seemed to be raging. That anger seemed to be able to blast the sky apart. The moment they heard the thunderous roar, Feng Lei's face was filled with joy. The remaining cultivators of the heavenly moon sect were also overjoyed. The old monsters of the profound thunder world who had fled to the outside of the main hall were shocked. Amidst the rumbling thunder, a lightning chariot with rolling golden lightning came from afar. The chariot was being driven by 3 mid-crossing truth realm cultivators respectfully. Low-grade silver lightning, mid-grade golden lightning. Only the realm lord of the 7th grade thunder world was qualified to ride on this golden lightning chariot. The lightning chariot was originally very far away, but it arrived above the heavenly moon sect in the blink of an eye. When the chariot arrived, the 3 Dujin cultivators did not make a move. Before the people in the chariot could get out, a golden lightning spear flashed out from the chariot and pierced towards the main hall of the heavenly moon sect. The target of the lightning spear was Ningfan and Lu Yen, who were in the main hall. The person who controlled the lightning spear had a cultivation base that was infinitely close to the void-rending realm. No matter who you are, you must die today since you dared to kill my disciple. A domineering voice of an elderly man resounded from the golden lightning chariot. The owner of the voice was none other than the profound Thunder World Lord. In just a flash, the lightning spear had already penetrated the main hall of the heavenly moon sect and was 3 feet away from Ningfan's head with a destructive force that was close to the void-rending realm. Ningfan did not summon the lightning diagram to counterattack. He just grabbed Lu Yan's slender waist and disappeared from the spot when the lightning spear was about to reach him. At the next moment, the main hall collapsed. Not only the main hall of the heavenly moon sect, but the entire heavenly moon mountain also collapsed under the attack of the lightning spear. The cultivators of the heavenly moon sect in the main hall were attacked indiscriminately. No one knew how many of them were killed or injured. No one knew if Ning Fan had escaped the attack of the lightning spear. Feng Lei Zi led a small number of cultivators and flew towards the direction of the lightning chariot. Their eyes were filled with respect and passion as they cupped their fists and bowed. "Your subordinate, Feng Lei Zi, greets the Realm Lord." If it wasn't for the Realm Lord who came in time and killed that madman, I would have probably died in his hands. "Humph! You failed to protect my disciple. From today onwards, you will be punished. As for that madman, it seems like he is still alive. I will personally kill him to avenge you, heir." A cold voice resounded from the carriage. "What? That person is still alive?" Feng Lei Zi was shocked. The expressions of the three Duzhen cultivators who were driving the carriage also changed slightly. The Realm Lord Xian Lei did not care about the astonishment of Feng Lei Zi and the others. He just turned into a ray of dazzling lightning light and walked out of the lightning chariot. With a wave of his hand, the lightning spear immediately returned to his hand. It was a white-haired old man with strong muscles. Lightning flashed around his body. His eyes were full of killing intent under his angry brows. Feng Lei Zi and the other three mid-Duzhen cultivators followed behind the Realm Lord Xian Lei. They were the four guardians of the Realm Lord. In the sky, Ning Fan and Lu Yan's figures slowly appeared. The moment he saw Ning Fan, the Realm Lord's killing intent reached its peak. As he held the lightning spear horizontally, golden lightning exploded beneath the Realm Lord Xian Lei's feet. Immediately, the gigantic shadow of an ancient deity appeared between heaven and earth. That gigantic shadow was covered in golden lightning. It carried 8 thunder drums on its back and held a lightning hammer in its hand. Its eyes were as sharp as lightning. That gigantic shadow was the Tao image of the Realm Lord Xian Lei, the glaring lightning god. "Those who have nothing to do with this, get out of the territory of the Heavenly Moon sect. Today, this old man is going to punish you here. Raging lightning barrier, open." The Realm Lord Xian Lei pointed his lightning spear forward. The gigantic deity shadow behind him immediately activated the lightning barrier, trapping Ning Fan and Lu Yan within it. Inside the barrier were also the Realm Lord Xian Lei, Feng Lei Zi, and the other three guardians. The raging lightning barrier was a domain-type divine ability. Within this barrier, the Realm Lord Xian Lei would be the lord of all lightning. His strength was comparable to the early Shidu Void realm. As soon as they saw the Realm Lord Xian Lei activating the barrier, the cultivators of the Heavenly Moon sect and the guests who came to attend the banquet revealed a look of fear. Countless rays of light flew out from the ruins of the Heavenly Moon Mountain, fleeing for their lives. Because of the barrier, no one dared to watch the battle from here. No one could see through the lightning to watch the battle. 1,000 years ago, the Realm Lord Xian Lei had once fought against an early Shidu Void realm cultivator and activated the raging lightning barrier. In that battle, that early Shidu Void realm cultivator actually failed to defeat the Realm Lord Xian Lei. As for the land within 1,000,000 li of the barrier, it had turned into ruins. Countless innocent living beings died under the lightning power of the barrier. There's no need to watch anymore. Unless that ghost-faced cultivator is a Shidu Void realm cultivator, he will definitely die in the raging lightning barrier. Countless cultivators sighed. Inside the barrier, Ning Fan's eyes slightly moved. Even though he possessed the Tai Su lightning star, his lightning power was slightly suppressed in this barrier. It was indeed a powerful barrier. However, in front of Ning Fan, who had comprehended the secret of the word force, it was full of loopholes. It was not difficult to break it. He did not plan to destroy the barrier. To him, the existence of this barrier also had its benefits. As long as the barrier exists, outsiders would not be able to see the battle inside. In this barrier, he did not need to worry about anything. He could use his full strength to kill the Realm Lord Xian Lei and the others. Wait for me in the world treasure first. Once this battle is over, I will let you out. Ning Fan waved his hand and sent Lu Yan into the profound Yin world. The eyes of the realm lord Xianlei, who was full of killing intent, immediately flickered. In his raging lightning barrier, outsiders would never be able to open his storage pouch or small Kiliacosm world treasure. This was another powerful aspect of this barrier. However, Ning Fan actually kept Lu Yen into the world treasure in this barrier. This man actually has a middle Kiliacosm world treasure. What exactly is his background? The realm lord Xianlei's heart suddenly had a hint of uneasiness, as if it would be a wrong decision for him to recklessly kill Ning Fan. Feng Lei and the other three guardians were also shocked. A middle Kiliacosm world treasure could only be possessed by immortal emperors. Could this ghost-faced cultivator in front of them be the successor of an immortal emperor? Otherwise, how could he possess a middle Kiliacosm world treasure? If this man is not a world treasure that he picked up, his background must be rather terrifying. No. Among all the immortal emperors of Eastern Heaven, there has never been a successor like Ning Fan. This man can't be the successor of an immortal emperor. His middle Kiliacosm world treasure might just be obtained by chance. Kill this man and we will be able to obtain the world treasure. The eyes of the Xianlei realm lord instantly flashed with greed as he spoke to the four protectors. Kill! Whether it was to avenge his disciple or to seize the world treasure, Ning Fan had to kill him. As soon as Feng Lei received the realm lord's order, his eyes immediately turned extremely cold. He glared at Ning Fan ferociously and smiled. Previously he was suppressed by Ning Fan. Now that the four guardians were all here and he was trapped in the realm lord's barrier, it was finally his turn to take revenge. Feng Lei and the other three mid-crossing truth realm experts flashed and immediately surrounded Ning Fan. Black lightning shot out from their palms and they opened the four devil lightning world. Ning Fan did not dodge. He just stared at the four of them quietly. The coldness in his eyes became deeper and he uttered 5 words coldly. Yin Yang Rain Unseal. Just as he uttered those words, Ning Fan's aura force suddenly skyrocketed. With a wave of his hand, the 4 devil lightning world immediately collapsed. Feng Lei and the others coughed out blood and retreated. They looked at Ning Fan, who destroyed the devil lightning world with his palm, in disbelief. Their faces were filled with fear. For the first time in his life, the realm lord Xianlei, who was originally domineering, showed a look of regret. The raging lightning barrier was still in place. Inside the barrier, countless raindrops fell from the sky like a waterfall. Within the curtain of rain, Ning Fan suddenly patted his sword pouch. Immediately, 5 rays of sword shadows that carried an inextinguishable rain intent slashed at the 5 of them. These 5 swords were none other than the 5 swords of rain. Any lightning that tried to stop the 5 swords were all destroyed by the sword light of the 5 swords. Among them, the 4-minute swords slashed at Feng Lei and the other 3 guardians respectively. As soon as the sword light flashed, the 4 of them immediately let out a blood-curdling shriek. In an instant, they were hit by the hundreds of millions of sword rain and their physical bodies exploded into a rain of blood. The separation and reunion swords slashed down at the realm lord Xianlei's head with an aura force that was infinitely close to that of an innate treasure. The realm lord Xianlei was filled with regret. At this moment he recognized Ning Fan's identity. In other words, if Ning Fan displayed the various abilities of the Yin Yang Rain technique, almost everyone would recognize him. Rain Immortal Monarch. This man is actually the Rain Immortal Monarch, the disciple of ancient chaos, an existence that even the secret races don't dare to offend. Not good. I can't stop this sword. A heart-wrenching scream resounded from the raging lightning barrier, spreading far and wide. The sword slashed the profound lightning barrier. 5 strands of dense death chi soared into the sky from within the barrier. All the old monsters of the profound lightning realm who heard the scream felt as if their heads were filled with cold air. When the rain and mist dispersed, the Yin Yang Rain barrier was sealed once again. When the raging lightning barrier collapsed, the silver-haired Ning Fan with a ghost face reappeared in front of the crowd of cultivators. He was holding a thin lightning thread in his hand. 5 unconscious primordial spirits were pierced through the thin thread. They were the primordial spirits of the realm Lord Xian Lei, Feng Lei Zi, and the other guardians. Who is this man? Could he be an old monster Shikong? He actually killed the realm Lord Xian Lei in the raging lightning barrier. Who is he? Ghost-faced, silver-haired? There aren't many silver-haired cultivators in Eastern Heaven. Could he be the revered lightning punishment of the Extreme Lightning Palace? At this moment, who would still dare to say that Ning Fan's act of breaking into the Heavenly Moon sect alone was a joke? Those who would say such stupid things are laughable. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.